Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health, if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curacion CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curacion CBD. Curacion means healing, and that right there says it all. Curacion is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curacion is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets too. Order yours now at CuracionCompany.com. Curacion CBD, curated for life.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Need a new roof? Get a roof built with integrity from E2 Roofing. E2 is a veteran-owned and operated local roofer with 95 five-star Google reviews and Better Business Bureau A+ rating. E2 Roofing is a veteran-owned and operated local roofer with 90 five-star Google reviews and Better Business Bureau A+ rating. E2 assists customers with roof repair and replacements through insurance claim assistance. Find out if insurance will pay for your new roof with a free inspection at e2roofingnashville.com.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Wire to wire for the Titans. Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans are riding high.
That was an ass-kicking yesterday by the Tennessee Titans. Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. We are streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. And Focus. If you're looking at the stream, I've got my nice can of Focus right here. The sparkling water with a spark. Definitely going to need the energy today after that big win yesterday, so I will be drinking my Focus today. But how about them Titans yesterday with a beatdown of Kansas City? Not a win. Not a ball when you a couple turnovers early. Titans capitalized, blew them out the
butt whooping.
Beatdown.
Butt whooping.
I mean a beatdown. There's no way around it. I went into that stadium yesterday, and I thought for sure that there's no way the sports gods would be nice enough to me, and I am a selfish person at times, though I can be very philanthropic, that the sports gods would be nice enough to me to give me the Monday night win, the Braves going to the World Series, and the Titans beating the Chiefs. I just knew it. I have had my heart broken too many times in my life, and I watched the first drive. Titans go down the field. They score. I'm like, okay. I'm like, Kansas City's defense kind of stinks. We knew that going in. Maybe they're as advertised in terms of how bad they are. Then Kansas City starts to move the ball. Bud Dupree gets a strip sack. And I'm like, whoa now. They're getting pressure on Mahomes. He's not completing every pass for 43-yard gains. What's going on here, people? Titans go down the field, score another touchdown, 14-0. I'm like, okay. 14-0. But we all know this team, they can make a lead evaporate overnight. They can make it go away. In 5 seconds, that lead can be gone. I saw it in the AFC title game. And they just kept moving down the field. Here comes punter. Interception. Great play by David Long Jr. Great play by Rashawn Evans. Defense holding tough. Then there's another score and kicking field goal. I'm like, I don't know about kicking field goals against this team. All of a sudden, it's 17-0. And I'm like, if this thing gets to 24-0, this game's over. Like, their defense is not good enough. And I think that's when it started to set in that, no, this was going to be what we saw yesterday. And Kansas City got the ball right before the end of the half. And I'm like, okay, I want to say it was 17-0 at the time. Kansas City gets the ball. And I'm like, Kansas City gets back in this game. If they score, halftime, score, now we got a ball game. But Kansas City didn't do that. They gave the ball back to the Titans. And then the Titans scored. And I was like, this puppy's over. This baby is over. And they just kicked Kansas City square in the rear end. And I'm not going to be one of these people. Now, today we will discuss the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs, as we talked about on Friday on this show, and we said, are the Chiefs good? And it was almost like one of these kind of wild radio topics that we're having about whether or not Kansas City's any good. Like, of course Kansas City's good. But now I kind of lean more so on the side of Kansas City may not be very good. What I was worried about was the offensive line chemistry between Mahomes and the line. I thought was bad chemistry. I just think that line's bad. And I think it's ruined Mahomes. But that defense is horrible. But I'm not going to be somebody today that sits there and says, well, the Chiefs aren't very good and we shouldn't take a lot. Hell no, you're not going to hear that out of my mouth today. No, sir. Because going into yesterday, everybody thought the Chiefs were the Chiefs. And so Kansas City walked into that stadium thinking that they were good too. So you went in there knowing who you were playing. They went in there thinking that they were still the Chiefs, the two-time defending AFC champions, and you smoked them. And all things considered, I thought this was the most dominant Titans win where you could leave this game feeling good, not just about the game, but about your team. I thought this was the most dominant Titans win against a quality opponent, like truly dominant, where it wasn't a couple of turnovers here and a missed field goal there and a freak catch here, where you just went out and you crushed that team. The Titans played a game in 2003. I want to say it was in October of 2003 when they played the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Carolina Panthers that year ended up in the Super Bowl. But at this time, the Panthers were like 7-0. And the Titans went on the road to Carolina and embarrassed them. And that was a game I remember as an 8th grader thinking, this Titan team is for real. This team is good. Well, the Titans played the Chiefs yesterday and dominated them, smoked them. All three facets of the game. Maybe not special teams, but who cares? Smoked them yesterday. And I'm sitting here today telling you all, you can feel however you want about the Tennessee Titans. Because I've now watched enough football this year. And I've seen the guys who are top contenders. And I've seen the Dallas Cowboys play. And I've seen the Green Bay Packers play. And I've seen the Bengals play. And I've seen the Ravens play. And I've seen the Bills play. And I've seen all these teams play. And I know this. When you're on, you can play with any one of them. The key word, win. When you are on, you can play with any one of them. Now, yesterday I got a little nervous listening to the Titans after the game was over talk about, we know that the Lombardi Trophy isn't handed out today, and we know that we didn't, because it almost feels like that kind of fake talk. Like that, hey, we got to talk up the other opponent. We got to talk about how good this other team is, even though we know they're not very good. Like that was how it kind of felt fake to me, that the players were trying to say, hey, they don't hand out Super Bowl trophies in October. It's like they were trying to mask their excitement for how well they played. But as you, the fans, I think you should be excited. I think you should look at your football team and the week that they had, and I think you should be excited. I can't tell you how many tweets I got yesterday in which people said, how are you going to crap on our team today, Jared? How are you going to? I got nothing. There are things about the team I don't love. There are things about the game that I think that I had issue with at the time. But as far as how do you feel about the Tennessee Titans right now, you ran the ball well against the Chiefs. You threw the ball incredibly well outside of that one weekly Ryan Tannehill pocket panic interception, which did happen again on Sunday. Tannehill threw the ball incredibly well. Your receivers played pretty well. AJ played great. But I'm going to tell you what I loved about yesterday's game. The defensive line. Because Bud Dupree got to Mahomes early, strip sack. Harold Landry early, Chiefs are driving. He's held because you got to hold him. Bring it back. I loved the defensive line yesterday. I thought they were nasty with the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have offensive line issues. But that's what you do to a team. That's what you do to a team. When they've got a little bit of an offensive line issue, you pounce on it if you've got a good defensive line. And I thought Simmons was great yesterday. I thought Autry was awesome yesterday. I thought Landry was awesome and has been awesome all season. I thought Dupree was great. I thought David Long Jr., for about the 5th week in a row, had a great game. You know, just all around. He's good in coverage. He gets to the football. He draws penalties. I love watching David Long Jr. play football. So, as much as we can look at this game and say, well, and this is what like TV and fans and things like this want to do, is you want to watch the game and say, we beat the Bills, we beat the Chiefs, we can beat anybody. And I think there is something to that you can play with the best teams in the league. Everybody knows you can also lose to the worst teams in the league because they did so a month ago. But I look at kind of these matchups. Kansas City's defense wasn't very good going in. We knew that. They were the 27th best rush defense in the league. And they sold out to stop Derrick Henry. That no matter what they were going to do, they were not going to let Derrick Henry take over the football game. And unlike the Jets game, where A.J. Brown didn't play, and unlike maybe some other games in the past, the AFC title game, the Ravens playoff game, when that Derrick Henry option is not effective as we are used to Derrick Henry being, sometimes there is a level of maybe staleness on offense. And what the Titans do? Fine. Man our guys up. Deep ball to A.J. Bang. Deep ball to A.J. Bang. Touchdown. That's how you're going to beat these teams. Because everybody's going to come up with a game plan, and that game plan is going to be do not let 22 take over the game. And if you don't have the receivers playing well enough and you don't have Michael Pruitt wide open in the middle of the field, then everybody's going to bring 11 guys down to the box. Floyd used to always say, no matter what you do, I can always stop the run because I can always bring one more than you can block. And I don't know if you all saw this on Football Night in America last night, but Tony Dungy said they were going to load that box, they were going to load the line of scrimmage, and Tennessee went and took advantage of it on the outside. And so I thought Todd Downing's game plan was excellent yesterday. And so I think that you've got to give the coaches credit. I think you've got to give the players credit. And I think we can be excited about the Tennessee Titans today. And you should be excited about the Tennessee Titans today. Now, Indianapolis is next week. And I think if you win that game, the division's probably over. And we will spend a lot of this week on the Indianapolis Colts game. But it's not look forward Monday. It's not worry about next week Monday. It's not are the Titans going to win the division Monday? It is reaction Monday. And the game we are reacting to yesterday was one of the best Titans games I can remember. One of the best ones I can remember in 20 years. Given the opponent, given what was on the line, given the emotional high you were coming off of Monday, given what is in front of you this season, given what your goals for your team are this year, I thought it was one of the most impressive wins. And I thought Tannehill played great. I thought Henry played great. I thought A.J. Brown played great. I thought Bobby Hart, who came into the game, who I've never heard of when Kendall Lamb got hurt and had to play left tackle, played great. And I thought the defensive line played great. And I thought David Long Jr. played great. And I thought Kern punted the ball really, really well. And Randy Bullock made his kicks. Were there a couple things I didn't like about yesterday's game? Sure. There's always going to be something that you don't like. But the one thing I'll say about the Titans, and this is going to be, no matter what happens to Kansas City the rest of the season, this is going to be how I feel about this team. Everything they do or don't do should be compared to the standard that they set for themselves yesterday. Because that was good football. That was dominant football. Even though they weren't as aggressive in the second half, which I'm okay with, they stayed on the gas. And I thought that they were fantastic yesterday. So the one thing I'll say is, I don't want to talk Super Bowl today because the Super Bowl is so far away. But who are the best teams in the AFC? Because you're right there with them. Who are the best teams in the NFL? Because you're right there with them. And I just think that yesterday was a statement. I think it was a statement on both sides. It was a statement from you saying that you belonged, and it was a statement to them and for them to the rest of the league that they ain't the Chiefs anymore. And I couldn't be more thrilled about the way the Titans played. You could never have predicted that. That was the best game they've played in a long time. Let's get your reaction. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Calls and texts, we will get to them. We'll get Caroline's reaction to yesterday. We'll get Ian's reaction to yesterday. And we'll give out our game balls. And I got 3 good ones. We'll do that coming up next. Stillman & Company Reaction Monday is presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and my friends at Focus. That's right. The sparkling water with a spark. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Swing and a ball hammered. Right field. Down the line. Gone! Eddie Rosario!
The Atlanta Braves are headed to the World Series.
Ground ball left side. Swanson up with his spin. Throws. Got him at first. The Atlanta Braves are champions of the National League and head back to the World Series.
Every game of the Fall Classic will be heard on 102.5 The Game or ESPN 94.9, plus the Game Nashville app.
Okay, so there's a drag queen, and I think she's Canadian. She doesn't say that she's Canadian in the video, but I think she is. And she's wearing this super fancy purple dress, poofy shoulder pads, real classic princess gown, and boom, right away she goes to the camera. This is a movie strip, and honestly, I have no idea what that is. But at the end of the video, you do understand it. I mean, not really if you're bad at math like me, but you kind of understand it. It's like a college math lecture. Suddenly, math has never been more beautiful and interesting to me. You have to see it. TikTok.
Yo, it's Teron Davenport here to tell you about my friends at Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and they do it all. New tires, balance, rotation, everything. Bill, a recent customer of theirs, loved the way they came to him and saved him time and money. So if you're like Bill, you like convenience, and you need some new tires, check out FreedomTireGuys.com. If you don't see the tires you like, give them a call, and they'll find them for you. Check them out today at FreedomTireGuys.com.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. Always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesdays and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Hey Nashville, it's Jared, and there's a new go-to for home furnishing. Social Furniture on the West Side is independently home-owned furniture store in Nashville. Forget the big box store. Shop local, shop social.
It's football season, and Social Furniture has the best lifetime guarantee motion furniture on sale now. Their sofas with recliners are push-button electric and wall-away with all colors to choose from for your comfort. Sectionals from $9.99, recliners from $3.99. Sectionals with Chase Lounge and all-electric recliners from $19.99. Social Furniture will have you football ready with all furniture that are plus leather, microfiber, and there's no waiting, and take home your new Motion furniture today or with their same-day fine furniture delivery. Social Furniture has no down payments and no interest. You don't want to miss out on their best lifetime guarantee Motion furniture sale going on now.
Shop local, shop social, 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road, and tell them Jared Stillman sent you.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Sign up today at BetMGM and enjoy the thrill of victory on your very first bet. Hey, it's Chase McCabe. The king of sportsbooks welcomes you to Showtime with the lock of the year. So pay attention. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on either New Orleans or Seattle. If either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets regardless of your bet's outcome. All you have to do is use the bonus code 1025GAME200 when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy football like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Just download the app or go to BetMGM.com. Use that code 1025GAME200 to win $200 in free bets if either New Orleans or Seattle scores a touchdown. Nothing beats a W at BetMGM. It's a new customer offer, paid in free bets. You must be 21 years or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
First and goal for Tennessee. Direct snap. Henry, he's going to pass it. Touchdown! Michael Pruitt! And the King reigns supreme through the air.
Do you get a little excited when you get the opportunity to throw a pass like you did down there on the goal line?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely cool. Definitely happy that, we're able to execute it and get in the end zone. Prue made a good catch, and, I was happy I was able to get it over the top so he can catch it and, touchdown.
When I saw Derrick Henry take that direct snap and then kind of take a step back, I thought, uh-oh, he's going to throw this baby. And there was Pruitt. The ball was there. Unbelievable way to get started. Titans just dominate the Chiefs. 615-737-1025 Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, the sparkling water with a spark drink. Focus, PHOCUS.com. I got 3 game balls to give away. Offense, defense, special teams. Offense, A.J. Brown. And I couldn't give it to Derrick Henry again, though. Derrick had a really good day. I hope people understand, the 80-plus yards. I mean, it's not 150 like we're used to from Derrick, but, Derrick had a real – they went out of their way to keep Derrick under 100, and Derrick threw a pass for a touchdown. But I'm going with A.J. Brown. And I think it's because the reality here for the Titans is when you get into the playoffs and you play the good teams, you're going to have both Derrick and A.J. You can't do it without. The idea that Julio is going to be like an equal third piece to this puzzle, I just don't think is a reality. I just don't think at this point we should consider it a possibility. To me, there's two superstars. Two guys on your team made the Pro Bowl last year, Derek and A.J. And when you needed them in the Bills game, it was Derek and A.J. And when you needed them in the start of the Chiefs game, it was Derek and A.J. Everybody else, they're all role players. Those are the stars. And I thought A.J. Brown played like a star last night. Game ball for A.J. Brown. Defensively, I keep giving the game ball to I can give Harold one. I keep giving it to David Long Jr. And I'm giving it to David Long Jr. again.
I think he deserves it.
He's awesome. I mean, he's everything you wanted Rashaan Evans to be. That for 4 years he's never been. David Long Jr. is. He gets penalties. He is a great tackler. He's great against the run. He's always in the backfield. He can rush the passer. And yesterday, now I thought he maybe got away with a little bit of interference, but they weren't calling that much yesterday. And that with the way, the uncanny instinct ability to turn away and knock the ball in the air. Now, Evans made a great play to catch it. That was an incredible play by David Long Jr., and he was all over the place once again. Honorable mention, though, to Danico Autry, because he was great. Now, I don't know if you listened to the pregame show, but my picks to click on defense. David Long Jr. and Danico Autry. So I'm just saying.
Well, snaps for you. But I do have to say, did you see him kind of taunting Travis Kelce yesterday?
David Long Jr.?
Yeah.
I did not.
Oh, it was awesome. So David Long Jr. kind of broke up a pass that was intended for Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, threw his arms up to the refs, what are you going to call that? And David Long Jr. was right behind him, mimicking him with the same kind of arm movements. And it was a subtle little catch, but I saw a video of it on Twitter, and I thought it was hilarious. So
now, don't be doing that, because you start doing that, then all of a sudden, I'm about to take the game ball away when you get called 15 yards for taunting. So,
well, it wasn't called for taunting.
There you go.
So we can't take away the game ball, but we can thank him for the quality Twitter content.
Special teams, easy. Kern puts two balls inside, the 5 or whatever it was. Your reaction to yesterday's win. And I do want to start the show with this, and we'll get to your phones. I see them. I do want to start with this question, which is, how can the Titans not be considered contenders after the week that they had? The Bills win and the Chiefs win. Your thoughts on the game yesterday?
And it is also wild to think that those two wins happened in the same week.
Yeah.
Monday night and then Sunday. But I think one of my biggest takeaways was that you mentioned that Derrick Henry had a big game, but it wasn't like a classic Derrick Henry breakout game. It wasn't 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 80-something yards, no touchdowns, threw a touchdown pass, which, I think Derrick Henry heard that, hey, NFL MVP is a quarterback award, and he said, sure, okay, I can play quarterback. But I think that this game yesterday showed that the Titans can win the big games, even if Derrick Henry doesn't have a classic Derrick Henry breakout, just monstrous game. Because Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown were able to win this game and were able to lead this offense. And Derrick Henry didn't need to rush for 150, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I think that's what showed me. I think that gave me a little bit of solace moving forward to know that the Titans can get it done in the passing game as well as on the ground. And this was the best defensive game I've seen the Titans play in a long time. All season. This was the best defensive game that I've seen. And it wasn't just one guy. It wasn't just Harold Landry. It wasn't just Rashaan Evans. It wasn't just David Long Jr. They were constantly pressuring the quarterback. They were, a nuisance in the backfield to Travis Kelce and to Tyreek Hill. They were just constantly breaking up passes, constantly pressuring the quarterback. And I know a lot of that is because the Kansas City Chiefs have a below average at best offensive line.
Oh, their offensive line's terrible.
But it was a great outing for the Tennessee Titans defense. Those were my two biggest takeaways, was that Derrick Henry doesn't necessarily need to run for 150 to be able to win a big game. And this defense is finally showing out to be a defense that could be considered a top 15 defense in the league.
I think the big play that sparked the defense was Bud Dupree rushing around the edge, strip sacking Mahomes. That's why he's here.
That got the defense going, and it rattled Patrick Mahomes.
And I think everybody kind of fed off
set the tone.
I think that what we saw defensively from the Titans was exactly what happened to them on offense against the Jets, which was once you get that confidence early that your defensive line can dominate their offensive line, now there's blood in the water. And I felt like after that Bud Dupree strip sack, that blood in the water was real and that the Titans were coming after Kansas City. It was the most aggressive defensive game I've seen them play. I've heard a lot of people talking about the defensive backs and saying, hey, how about these defensive backs? I'm not going to do what I did the other day where I was like, look, I'm not giving credit to people that don't deserve it, but there were plays where I saw like Tyreek Hill running wide open across the middle of the field, and I was just waiting from, because I sit in 214, so you're above kind of like where you're nowhere near field level. You're also not at the very, very top, so you can still see who the players are, and you can see kind of the play develop. And I'm watching Tyreek Hill run wide open, and then I turn my head to go look at the quarterback, and he's not I'm expecting him to be standing there and delivering the ball right to Tyreek to go run with it, and he's like trying to play Allen Iverson back there in the pocket, like crossover, dribble, step back, shoot. And I'm like, he has no idea what's going on. His head is not down the field. His head is staring at the rush. And that's exactly what happened to you against the Jets. So this is what it's like to be on the other side of it. Now, the difference is you still scored 20-something points against the Jets. They scored 3 against you. And I didn't even think they should have scored the 3. Because the 3 they scored, Andy Reid's down 27 in the third quarter, and he is kicking a field goal? What? So to me, I don't even care you give him the 3. We're to your phones next. Reaction Monday, Titans Monday. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We are calls, then we are texts, but we will get to your reaction today. And the one thing I'll say, you as a fan can feel like your team is a contender today. You can feel that way because you should feel that way. Because right now, who can't you beat? Stillman and Company. Let me tell you about Invigorate Health. That's right, InvigorateHealthTN.com. If you are feeling old, if you're feeling tired, or if you are feeling overweight, out of shape, and you just don't know what to do to feel the way you used to feel, you need to talk to my friends at Invigorate Health. Invigorate Health is online once again at InvigorateHealthTN.com. It's interesting. They got a lot of different options. So whether you can't get that fat off whether it's your belly or your backside or your hips or whatever, you can use the M-Sculpt Neo that they've got. You need IV therapy. They've got it. You need hormone replacement like testosterone or something like that. They've got it. But they've also got this new thing for people that are really struggling to lose weight. It's called Sigmaglutide. It's a new shot. It is FDA approved. Doctors have been using it for years, but now it's been approved for weight loss. And I was actually reading Men's Health magazine this week. That's right, the new edition. And it was talking about Sigmaglutide. And for a lot of people that are losing weight off of Sigmaglutide, again, it's safe. It's FDA approved. And I was reading in Men's Health magazine this week that they said, quote, and this is from Men's Health advisor and obesity medicine expert Fatima Cody Stanford, MD. This degree of weight loss can have major impact on type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, arthritis, and obstructive sleep apnea, just to name a few. The drug may also help in lessen the blame the patient stigma around obesity, says Yoni Friedhoff, MD, medical director of the someplace in Ontario. People don't choose to have obesity any more than they choose to have high blood pressure. With the latter, though, no one blinks about medications that help lower it, and hopefully there will be a future where the same might be said with obesity. And they've got it. Sigmaglutide, again, that's one of their big new things over at Invigorate Health. InvigorateHealthTN.com. My guys, tell them Jared Stillman sent you. That's Invigorate Health.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashwell.
Yossi from the circle. He scores! Roman Yossi scores in overtime!
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Even with the national supply shortage, Hi-Fi Buys retail store stocked up months ago for this week's 44th anniversary. We have a huge in-stock selection of 4 and 8K TVs, projectors, speakers, soundbars, subwoofers, streaming players, and more. And because we planned ahead for this event, we made special purchases before most manufacturer prices increased. Now, we're passing those savings on to you. Let's talk TVs. We have nearly every Sony TV in stock, plus great prices on Samsung, LG, Sierra. Some year-end models we're practically giving away. Do not wait. Shop for the holidays now. Shortages are happening and prices are going up. Get the best for less now. At Hi-Fi Buys, when we have a sale, it's a real deal. Just the very best quality for the very best price. Some sale prices can't be displayed. See sales associate for your special price. Get over to Hi-Fi Buys 44th anniversary sale. This week only. This sale will not be extended. Hi-Fi Buys. See us on Nolensville Road or HiFiBuysNashville.com. Custom division, special order, manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
The fans are back and Bridgestone Arena is full. 17,159 Preds fans in gold. Watch your Nashville Predators take on the San Jose Sharks and New York Islanders live from Smashville. Join us October 26th and 30th. NashvillePredators.com/tickets to secure your seat now. We need you there, loud and proud. It's the Preds against the Sharks and Islanders. NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds.
Tuesday night.
It's a fly ball to center field. Lorenzo Cain going back at the wall. Freddie Freeman's left the yard and put the Braves on top.
The World Series begins from H-Town as Freddie Freeman and the Atlanta Braves take on the Astros in Game 1. Pre-game at 6. First pitch at 7.
On ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app. Brought to you locally by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Going against the nickel here on 3rd and 7. Mahomes in trouble. Mahomes hit from behind, loses the football. Bud Dupree gets to the quarterback. Kansas City recovers it.
At the end of this game, Mike, did you start, even in practice, start to see from Dupree signs that, maybe a game like this was coming from him?
I didn't practice Friday, so it was limited throughout the week. So didn't see much in practice, just hoped that he was going to be available for the game.
There you go. That was Vrabel talking about Bud Dupree and saying nothing. I listened to Vrabel's press conference both yesterday and today, and I promised phones, and phones will get to him. But, in all seriousness, why even have a press conference if you're going to act like that? If everything's just going to be, so terse and this is so beneath me and Mike can say whatever he wants. I remember one time someone called his coach's show and they said, yeah, coach, I know you'd rather be doing something else. And he said, no, what makes you say that? I'm glad to be here doing the show and whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, if you're going to act like that, then act like that. So if you're going to have to do it, just do it. And I am starting to get a little frustrated with Mike. I understand when you lose a game. And I don't excuse bad behavior when you lose a game, but I understand, not wanting to do it.
The frustration.
But when you win a game and you have to be such an ass about everything, hey, did you expect Bud Dupree was going to come around Bud didn't practice Friday, so Bud was able to play today, so that was good. And, ultimately, I do think that how you act in both defeat and success is important. So I would just like to get that out, that it'd be nice if Mike would pretend to give a care when he is doing those press conferences, or else he's going to look like a bad dude. And he's not a bad dude. So I just leave it at that. Phones as promised, 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Herb is going to kick us off today. And Herb, go ahead. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Herb.
Hey, Jared. Hey, listen, I bet you when it was 14-0 early in the game, you were wondering just like I was, well, how quick can Patrick Mahomes erase that lead? And, of course, good defenses was a lot of the reason he didn't, but there's another very important reason, and that is the time of possession. In the first 3 quarters of the game, the time of possession was like 2-1 or 3-1. And, you know, Derrick Henry, forget about the 86 yards. Derrick Henry had like 8 first down runs, which helped that time of possession, of course, even by catching the ball and getting a first down. When he came off the field after that very last run where he lost 4 yards, he was really angry, you know, if you saw his face or not. But so I think even Derrick Henry underestimates the contribution that he made to winning that game in that sense.
So I appreciate your call. Herb, time of possession was something that I was monitoring very closely. It also happens to be on the scoreboard all the time, which I'm actually thankful for. But I kept noticing those numbers. And I think at one point, I remember saying, like, the Chiefs are on pace to have the ball for 13 minutes today. Like,
that is
on
insane.
pace at one point in the second quarter. I'm like, they are on pace to hold the ball for 13 minutes.
Well, every time they had the ball, they turned it over.
I mean, they just gave it right. They just 3 and out, gave it right to the Titans. I mean, I'm looking at the drives. Punt, interception, fumble, end of half. Then they kicked a field goal. They had the ball for 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and they kicked a field goal. They missed a field goal, turnover on downs, fumble. I mean, and the Titans were so effective. Listen to these drive times for the Titans. 4:10 to start the game. Then they went 5:34, 6:39, 5:08. Then right before the half, they kicked the field goal, so that was 1:45. Then the interception in which, oh my goodness, Tannehill, what was he doing? What was he doing? That was the one thing people are like, what are you going to complain about today? Tannehill's interception drives me crazy because it speaks to the larger issue that he craps his pants inside the pocket.
He gets so spooked whenever he gets any kind of pressure because you could see Kansas City defender coming up right behind him. You could tell he looked behind him and he threw the ball right into traffic.
They blitzed him and he threw it right to the Chiefs.
He gets the yips whenever he has any sort of pressure.
And I hate to sound like, again, I know that this is Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, and it's not, looking at the Colts. But you throw that ball into the arms of Bobby Okereke or into the arms of Darius Leonard, and it's going to totally change the game. Just look at last night's Colts game and how San Francisco just gave them the football game yesterday. But on that Tannehill drive, 7:21, then they punted, and then they held the ball for 4 minutes and they punted. I mean, every drive was at least 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Like, that is, you want to win a game like the way that they talk about winning games by running the football. Controlling the clock is a big part of that. And these drives are sustainable. And the other thing about these sustainable drives are it keeps your defense off the field. So Bud Dupree and Harold Landry can rest up more on the sidelines, and that's when they can come out and really get after the quarterback. If they have to play 36 minutes, by the time you're in the fourth quarter and you need a big play out of Harold Landry or a big play out of Danico Autry or a big play out of those big boys up front, then you're not going to be able to get it because they've been out there all day. So I am with the caller. I think time of possession was a huge factor in yesterday's game, and I thought the Titans absolutely played the kind of game they want to play. This is how the Titans should want to win games. Because forget about the guys in the back end of the secondary. And I know when Fulton comes back, it'll be better, but you got Byard and Jackrabbit Jenkins and a bunch of practice squad guys. Like, that's what's out there. Maben and Chris Jackson and Dane Cruikshank and, it's all young guys and practice squad guys. And that's all it's going to be this year. Even when Fulton comes back, he'll be out there, but ultimately there will still be a practice squad or a young guy out there that a team could take advantage of. So the big boys got to get home up front. No matter who you play, those 4 guys, first-round pick in Jeffrey Simmons, high-money free agent in Bud Dupree, second-round pick in Harold Landry, high-money free agent Danico Autry, they got to get home. That's how you want to win on defense. And then your linebackers, Jayon Brown when he gets healthy, Rashaan Evans played a pretty decent game yesterday, and then obviously David Long Jr., who's the best of the three. Those guys kind of roam the field and do whatever they want, same with Byard. That's how you're going to win on defense. How are you going to win on offense? Long, sustainable drives where you don't turn over the football. And if a team makes the choice, now a lot of defenses you're going to play are going to be better than this Kansas City defense. But if a defense makes the choice, hey, we're not letting Derek beat us, end of story, then you got to make A.J. Brown make them pay. A.J. Brown made the Bills pay. A.J. Brown made the Chiefs pay. And that's what you have to do. And that's the formula. That is the formula for how this team is going to win games. All the other guys, Julio Jones, Michael Pruitt, and Josh Reynolds, and Chester Rogers when he's healthy, and Marcus Johnson, they're just complimentary pieces. It drives me nuts that you're paying $15 million in a second-round pick for a complimentary piece, but that's what he is right now. They're just complimentary pieces, and they're going to catch their passes, and they're going to need to be open, and you're going to need to throw touchdowns to them, but it's give the ball to Derek, and it's throw the ball to A.J., and that's the key on offense. And I thought yesterday that the way that you want to play is how you played yesterday. Every game. I would love to go into Indianapolis on Sunday, turn around and hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, and if Matt Eberflus, who plays his own and doesn't like doing this, if he says, no, we're bringing everybody down. We're bringing the safeties, we're bringing Leonard, we're bringing Okereke, we're bringing them down to the line of scrimmage, then fine, A.J. Brown, go kill the Colts for the second time in as many years. Like, that's how you win. And I think that yesterday was a prime example. I mean, the last two games have been a prime example of how you do that. And I will say this, as much, because I don't believe in excuse making, as much as I did not allow us to sit back there after the Jets loss and say, well, if they had A.J. and Julio, it might have been different, because I don't think you should lose to the Jets even if A.J. and Julio aren't out there. I think it's pretty obvious if you have A.J. Brown out there, you're probably not going to get sacked 7 times, and you're probably going to beat the Jets. I think A.J.'s played great the last 2 weeks. 615-737-1025. What do you have in the text line?
Coy in Clarksville texts in and says, do you believe the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator have finally figured things out? Because over the last 6 days, we look like a championship caliber team. Or do you believe that we just got lucky?
I don't think that they got lucky.
I think it's incredibly difficult to get that lucky in the NFL.
So I go back to a game last year where the Titans beat the pants off Buffalo. And it was the COVID game, and they hadn't practiced, and they hadn't done anything, and whatever. So they hadn't done any of that. And they get out there, and they somehow just absolutely spanked Buffalo. Buffalo turned it over 3 times. Tannehill was efficient in the red zone. And I remember before that game, Floyd said, hey, if the Titans, really beat the Bills, then we can start talking. Because the Titans were undefeated at the time. And he said, if they can just really hammer the Bills, then we can start talking about being an elite team. And so the next day, I was like, GM, you said we could talk about it. And he was like, right, but the way they won, it was so weird and kooky and clunky. And there was no kooky and clunky yesterday. That was an ass-kicking. I mean, that was, Ian, that Bills game last year, if you played the Bills 10 times, you blew them out once, how many times would you blow that Bills team out last year?
Yeah, that one did feel a little bit more circumstantial as far as, this game, Titans got the ball, drove down, and the best opening drive we can remember probably in a good minute. Mm-hmm. And, it just started out from the start, like they were ready for business, as opposed to the Buffalo game where it looks like Buffalo kind of gave you a few mistakes to take advantage of.
I would argue that what he was looking for out of that Buffalo game, and then we can start talking, is what they did yesterday. If the Titans played the Chiefs 10 times, how many times do you think the Titans would win?
If they played like that, 10.
I'm not going to say if they played like that. But 8, 9? The Titans are very clearly better than the Chiefs. Now, how good are the Chiefs? I don't know. But I don't work at Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. I work here. That's their problem, not mine. But, I think they are very clearly better than the Chiefs after yesterday's game. There was no fluke to that. Back to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025 on a Reaction Monday. Reaction Monday is powered by my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and our friends at Focus, the sparkling water with a spark. And again, you can find more about Focus. In fact, let me show you Focus right here. You can find more about Focus there at your local Publix and drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms continue to move east into East Tennessee. That's going to open the door for us to see still some breezy conditions, but a little bit of sunshine out there with highs in the upper 60s this afternoon.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey Nashville, we think you deserve the very best driving experience, and now is the time for our Season of Change CPO event at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. When you purchase a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you're backed by the remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, PHOCUS, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Yo, this is Justin from Music City Vintage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage and shoe needs. See y'all soon, Nashville.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water. Yeah. Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rex Road.
That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rex Road every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
2 big wins in a row over some very good teams. I always get the sense maybe that Mike Vrabel tries to kind of tamp that down a little bit, like he doesn't want to get big heads or thinking too much of themselves. Is that accurate? Is that kind of what, was that the message that he delivers a little bit too, to just, let's not get carried away kind of thing?
Yeah, there's nothing to get carried away about. We're 7 games into a 17 regular game season. So have a lot of football out in front of us. We just have to stay the course, enjoy the wins, keep building, grow as a team, and be able to put a good team effort out each and every week.
Hey, you go. That's the Titans. They've spent all day yesterday after the game acting like beating the Chiefs wasn't a big deal. They spent all day. And I laugh at it. You know why?
Why?
Because I don't need you to tell me that there's more games left in the season. I don't need you to act like. Now, I know what they're doing. They're telling themselves this. They're not telling me this. They're not telling you this. They're not telling us this. They're telling themselves, like, hey, can't get too caught up in this win over Kansas City because God knows we've done that enough and then we lost to the Jets. Like, we all know that. But I just look at it like, just go to work. Like, just what you did last week, just do it this week. Just go to work. Like, that's – Michael would drop 50 in a game. And then Michael went back to doing what Michael had always done. Kobe did the same thing. Peyton Manning did the same thing. Brady does the same thing. Like, so you say, hey, we just want to enjoy the wins. But we haven't done anything yet. We haven't done anything. We can't celebrate this win too much. We haven't done anything. Just go to work. But enjoy the wins. And the fans should enjoy the wins. Join us in partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer through hope, research, and support for patients and families. Nashville's Light the Night will be virtual and take place on November 4th. Learn more at lightthenight.org/TN. Back to your phones we go. Caroline Fenton on the text line.
Grant in Clarksville texts in and says, did we see a clearer picture as to what Ryan Tannehill actually looks like now that he has his top two receivers playing?
Yes. But.
Okay.
Chiefs defense sucks. I mean,
not great.
We've got to, and I thought they played great yesterday. I mean, I thought they played great. They didn't play perfect. You know, this idea that everything was all rosy, I mean, that interception Tannehill threw was pretty, I mean, you in your 10th year or you in your 10th game? You know, when I see that kind of interception. And I've now seen it enough to know that this is a trend that's going to continue that I guess Arthur Smith found a way to get him to not do. But I think this is kind of what he is, which is he's going to spread the ball around to everybody. And he's good when he's got time and he's confident. He can hit the open guy.
He's good in play action.
But you got to have Derrick Henry. I mean, you got to have Derrick as the number one threat for Tannehill to be effective. And you got to have A.J. Brown. And, I mean, maybe Julio breaks out. Like yesterday, Julio made that catch and that nice little move and got that nice gain. And TD sent out a tweet like, I bet Jared's so mad right now. And I'm like, that's great. But, like, he still had less catches than Josh Reynolds yesterday.
But he also had 2 catches for 2 first downs. So I'm not going to act like he didn't have any contribution to this team.
But you're talking about, like, and I'm not going to act like Michael Pruitt didn't have any contributions to this team either. He had an incredible catch over the middle.
Great touchdown pass.
And he had a touchdown
catch.
But I thought the catch in the middle of the field where Tannehill overshot Pruitt and he jumped up and caught the football. I thought it was a great catch.
It was huge.
And so, but like that's the bucket. Like there's AJ and Henry, and then there's the bucket. And so you can put your hand in the bucket and it can be Jeremy McNichols, okay? And put your hand back in the bucket. Chester Rogers, okay? And hand in the bucket. Julio Jones, okay? And I need Julio to be over here with AJ and Derek and not in the bucket because he's in the bucket right now.
Do you not think that Julio may also be on some sort of pitch count? That Vrabel looks at him and says, look, he's injured, he's older, makes him a little bit more fragile. We need him in the postseason. We'll throw him out there when we need him. We'll throw to him when he needs to be thrown to. But we are not going to put him out there for 133 yards.
Like, was he on a pitch count in the Seattle game?
Yeah, I don't know. We won't know.
Like in the Seattle
AJ
game?
Brown told us that he was on a pitch count.
In the Seattle game, he was over here. You know, he was with Derek in the Seattle game. And AJ would have been over there with him if he had caught the ball.
But that was also before he had nagging hamstring issues.
It's also after he had nagging hamstring issues.
That's true.
Like, that's the thing. Like, so, what, I mean, and I'm not here to crap on Julio. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying right now, the question was, you know, is this what Tannehill is? I think the answer is yes. And I think what your offense is it's led by 2 studs, AJ and Derek. And then everybody else plays a role. And now I do think for the offense to be as good as everybody wants this offense to be, Tannehill and Julio Jones both have to consistently keep themselves from being role players. That they've got to be put it on my back players. Because I know right now, 2 games in a row, AJ has put it on his back. Derek has put it on his back for 3 years. Can these other guys, like no one's expecting Marcus Johnson or Michael Pruitt or any of the other. Tannehill stops turning the ball over, now you've got the potential to truly be special this year. Now, like where we look at the Chiefs defense and say, well, the Chiefs defense sucks, and it does. This is kind of the moment where it's like, I don't care who your defense is. I mean, this is when we're going to find out 2 weeks from now, because Jalen Ramsey's going to be on A.J. Brown. So now Tannehill's going to be out there, and this pooping his pants that he does whenever he gets pressured and throws an interception, well, they've got Aaron Donald, and they've got pass rushers. So now we're going to learn in 2 weeks. But, by the way, if you beat the Colts, you win 3 in a row, and you beat the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Colts, I don't give a crap what you do against the Rams. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your reaction on a Reaction Monday. I have a big burning question after yesterday's game, and I asked multiple people about this yesterday as well. And I'm going to put Ian on the spot, asking him about this next as well. Stillman and Company, Reaction Monday. It's ESPN 1025, The Game Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark. Caroline wants to tell you about BetUS.
I want to tell you about my favorite sports book, and of course, my favorite sports book is BetUS. Hockey is back. Baseball finally in the World Series. Congratulations to our Braves, Jared. So get in on the action and do it with BetUS. They have been America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. And that's exactly why I endorse them. They have integrity. They have longevity. They have been around, so you know that with BetUS, when you win, you are going to get paid. Plus, they offer everything. They have live betting, golf, MMA, horses, esports, all kinds of crazy prop bets. You name it, they've got it. So call BetUS today, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Just call 1-800-79-BET-US. That is 1-800-79-BET-US. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS, so if you join now, you mention the promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, you can get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. Nobody beats BetUS. That's exactly why I bet there, and so should you. So go now to BetUS.com, join today, put in promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, for a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. That is BetUS.com.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. If your AC or heater is old and inefficient, you can replace it with up to 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. That's right, 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 6 months no interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming online, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, Drink Focus, PHOCUS, sparkling water with a spark. Titans Monday, Titans annihilate the Kansas City Chiefs. My dad, for years, has been at the Titans game, hey, if they get another first down here, you ready to go? Like, Dad, there's 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they're down by 10. Yeah, but if they get another first down, you ready to? No. You ready to go? That's how he's been for years and years and years. And I remember when Peyton Manning and the Colts would come in, and they always used to play the Colts in September, and it'd be hot, and it'd be 90 degrees, and we're on the east side of the stadium where the sun hits. And I remember leaving in the third quarter because Manning and the Colts were just rolling, killing them. And so yesterday I'm sitting there 9 minutes to go in the game, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And it's the Chiefs.
This is a beatdown.
And I'm ready to go. So I had a lot of thoughts yesterday. What I do on game days, since we do the pregame show at Rock Bottom, is I will park at the stadium, walk across the bridge, do the pregame show, walk across the bridge, go to the game, then get in my car and go home. And I take my AirPods and I listen to music or whatever. Right now I'm listening to Joe Buck's book on Audible. But I took my AirPods out for my walk and my AirPods were dead. So there's a lot of thinking that I had to do on my walk from one to the other. And then my walk back and everything else. Mm-hmm. So other than having the NBA on NBC theme from the 1990s stuck in my head.
I feel like that has perpetually been stuck in your head since the 1990s.
It has. It's a great song. I yesterday was watching the game. I kept thinking on my walk over to Rock Bottom about the Braves making the World Series and about Floyd. And that if Floyd was still on this show, I guarantee you that he would be claiming the Houston Astros. Now, remember, he was the general manager in Houston, and he lived next door to Jeff Bagwell. And he'd be talking, that's my team! Ha, ha! Go Astros! I know the owner of the Astros. You don't even know anybody. And you go there and you think, that's my team. That sound about right, Ian?
Sounds about right.
Even though there's no one that we knew that hated baseball more than Floyd?
Fair also.
Do you think that he would watch a Houston Astros Braves World Series game knowing that I cared? Do you think he'd watch?
That is a good question. He might watch one if there was no football on.
I don't think he would. But I could hear that. So sometimes I know what he's thinking. But then after the game was over, I kept asking myself, what would Floyd say? Floyd was always, whatever side of the yin or the yang I was, he was always kind of the opposite. He was kind of always the hands in the air, everybody stop, 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 whatever. And I joked about the first game where they got crushed by the Cardinals. And I knew that if this were 3 years ago, I'd have been on the air they stink, they're awful, they're not going to be any good this year, they're not going to be, and he'd have been like, whoa now. I mean, you got to understand it's, and put out the fire. And I know that if this were 3 years ago, I'd have been on the air talking, Super Bowl, they just beat Buffalo, they beat Kansas City, they outthrew Mahomes, they beat them, they killed them, yes. And I don't know what he would have said. Not that I feel that way today. I think if you want to think that your team can compete for the Super Bowl, you're allowed to think it today. You are allowed to think it. But I don't think the Titans should be the betting favorites in Vegas right now to win the Super Bowl either. And so I asked. I texted his son. I texted Ryan. And I decided I was going to hit Ian with this in live time. Ian, what do you think Floyd's reaction to the last two wins would be?
Well, I do think he probably would have said good wins. And he probably would have tried to give some credit to the coaching staff, I would think, first thing. Just, I don't know. I think he would have been pretty enthused. I think after this Kansas City win, he would have been saying, good win, solid win, everybody played well, coaches. I don't think he would try and downplay it too much.
So I texted Sean Reese and I texted Ryan. Ryan texted me back, Ryan Porth, and said, never get too high, never get too low, is what he thinks Floyd would have said. Sean said, remember, we have some good wins in October, but we lost to the Jets this month too. Consistency is key. We are capable of being great, but great teams find a way to do it every single week. Maybe we are there now. I hope we are. He thinks that's what Floyd would have said. Got to be. I think he would have totally deflected. So I think he would have, to Ian's point, I thought he would have said great job on the coaches, and I think he would have talked a lot about Kansas City's offensive line. Because I think Kansas City's offensive line is a real problem. In the SEC, everybody gets caught up in quarterbacks and explosive offenses, and you know why Georgia is so much better than everybody else? You see the size of their lines?
They're huge.
I mean, they are just huge. Alabama has been better on the line than your team for the last 15 years because it's so big. And I thought the Chiefs were so bad on the line, offensively and maybe defensively. And he was a defensive lineman, so that's something he would have cared about. I think a lot of his message today would be, none of it matters if they don't beat the Colts. That, I think, would have been his message. None of it matters if they don't beat the Colts. Now, I don't think that that's true. I mean, it's still 2 AFC wins against great teams, and they can lose to the Colts and they can recover from it and be fine. But I think that would be his message, because I think that would be his message to the team, is none of it matters if you don't beat the Colts. So you can say whatever you want, we can talk about, but none of it matters if you don't beat the Colts. That's what I think he would have said. Not that I think that that's exactly what he would have believed. I think he would have been as giddy as any of you about the idea of, hey, this offense looks like it's finding an identity. The defensive line, for the first time in God knows how long, looks like they have the capability of getting to a quarterback. You may have found something special in David Long Jr. at linebacker. Kevin Byard has rebounded from his nightmare season last year. I mean, I think he'd be just as giddy as all of you are. But the message that he would send out, I think, would be, it doesn't matter if you don't beat the Colts. And it reminds me, and I know I've told this story before, but it reminds me of the Sunday that they played Indianapolis in 2018. Winner's in, loser goes home. And Adam Schefter reported that morning that Marcus Mariota was out and Blaine Gabbert was going to start at quarterback. And we did a special show that day, and I'm like, what are they doing? Marcus is out. They got no chance to win. What are they going to do? And he said, hey, I'm not worried about that. Marcus can make any throw. Blaine can make any throw that we would have asked Marcus to make. We'll be fine. Blaine can make any throw that we'd ask Marcus to make. And right then and there, I said I had two choices. I'm about to do about 5 hours of radio with this guy, and I got two choices. One, I can challenge what he just said because it is incredibly stupid, and we all know it. But if I do that, he's going to shut off. And he's going to be like, you don't know, and just sit there and be, okay. And that's going to have to do that for 5 hours. Or I can interpret that as the message that he was giving you, the audience, that day, is the message he would give the locker room if he was the GM or if he was the coach. And so as I kept thinking last night about what he would have said, I kept thinking about that. And the idea of, just like how Vrabel, and you could tell the message in which he told the players. Ian played the Tannehill clip in the last segment about, we haven't done anything yet. And I think it was Byard said, we don't give out Lombardi trophies in October. And A.J. Brown said, we didn't win the Super Bowl today. The message is clear from Vrabel. I think Floyd's message would have been, this is great, but it doesn't matter if you don't beat Indianapolis. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that would have been his message. Just like I know that he doesn't think Blaine Gabbert's good enough to win. But what else are you going to do at that point when you're coaching the team? You're not going to go in the locker room and say, hey, guys, Blaine sucks. I know, let's forfeit. You're not going to do that. And so that's the conclusion I have, is that he would have said, hey, you think this is good? And yes, the callers think it's good, and we all had a good. And it doesn't mean anything if you don't beat Indianapolis on Sunday. Ha ha! That's what I think he would have said. Let's go back to your phones. 615-737-1025 on Reaction Monday. It's also Titans Monday. Angel is going to kick us off. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Angel's going to kick us off this hour. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Angel.
Hey, what's up, Jared? Man, first off, tighten up and respects to Floyd, man.
Yep.
But two things, like you said, just two quick things that I'm going to get off and listen. First off, that defense, man, we haven't had pressure on the quarterback in years, man. Shout out to the Nico Autry, Landry, and Long, man. Those guys are playing amazing. Of course, Kevin Byard doing his thing back there, like always. And the second is, like you said, man, we just got to go to work. It's the thing that we're known for. We play down and up to our opponents. We can lose against anybody and beat anybody. But if we just tighten down, man, and just go to work, get it week in and week out, man, ain't no reason why we can't be, AFC champs or even Super Bowl contenders. Well, man, tighten up. Good win.
Thank you, Angel. Yep, thank you, Angel. I agree with half that sentiment, and I disagree with half of it. So the sentiment about the Titans playing up to their opponents and down to their opponents, I think there's something to that because they've been doing this now for 3 years.
Well, because they beat the Bills and the Chiefs and lost to the Jets.
But there is a flaw with that I want to get to next.
Okay.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. The other thing about the defensive line I want to get to, because he talked about the defensive line. Was it that the defensive line's finally clicking with all these good players? Or was it that Chiefs offensive line is? And bad's the wrong word, because that line's got some decent players. Like, Trey Smith's good. But it takes an offensive line a while to gel. Like, it really does. Like, it takes them a while, the room and the guys and I just feel like there's a lack of chemistry between the line and the quarterback. We always talk about chemistry between quarterbacks and wide receivers. We never talk about the chemistry between the line and the quarterback. And I think there's a lack of chemistry between Mahomes and the line to where they're struggling with trying to figure out what he's going to do. And he's looking down at the rush because he's afraid about what they're going to do and not just trusting his natural ability. Because I'm telling you about that one play, I saw Tyreek Hill running right across the middle of the field. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I look down and I'm looking for Mahomes to step up and just fire a rocket 17 yards in stride to Hill for him to run with the football for about another 20. And he's sitting out there, trying to crossover dribble back in the back like he's Jason Kidd. And I'm like, well, he can't even see what I'm seeing at the game because he's looking at the rush. So the line, I don't know. But your sentiment about, hey, they showed us they can beat the Bills, and they showed us they can beat the Bills and the Chiefs, but they also lost to the Jets. That is a national narrative. They were talking about that on Sunday Night Football last night. I have a theory. Next. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your calls. We'll get back to your texts. Reaction Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by our friends at Focus. Again, the sparkling water with a spark. Drink Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Current deals include half-off gift cards for Retro Snow, Fat Cat Slim, Central Barbecue, Joyland in East Nashville, and Bad Axe Throwing. Get your deal at theGameNashville.com/deals.
Michael Pruitt dumped by Landry. Nothing is working for the Chiefs.
The Titans smother the Chiefs to move to 5-2.
Felt confident throwing the ball, and guys are making plays.
We're reacting all day long.
Talking Titans.
It's been a good week for the Tennessee Titans on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
1, 2, 3, guys.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Cast iron. Lift that cast iron. You're doing good.
Hey, hon. Sweetie.
Yeah, hon.
I need to make dinner. I need that pan.
You can't always do home workouts how you'd want, but now you can sip what you want. Heineken 0.0. It tastes great, only has 69 calories, and absolutely zero alcohol.
Well, here, lift these. 2 Heineken 0.0s.
Oh, right. Dumbbells I can drink. Sip. Zero.
Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy responsibly.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429, has a path to a dignified career. Are you a skilled electrician or lineman? Tired of dead-end, low-paying jobs? Local 429 is accepting applications for highly skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, the best training and training the best.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue, so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
3rd down and 7. Tannehill lofts it up. End zone. Caught. A.J. Brown. Touchdown, Tennessee.
There or close to there to that pick your poison offense that we talked about in the offseason?
I don't want to say, but I definitely think we moved in the right direction. This is one game. We didn't win the Super Bowl today, so we're not gonna get big-headed about one win.
Even though you didn't win the Super Bowl today, it's still back-to-back wins over top teams in the conference. I mean, do you feel like this is kind of like an opportunity to put the league on notice about what you guys are capable of?
The league's gonna do its thing. They're gonna say, look out for the Titans. They beat the Chiefs, they beat the Bills. But I mean, for us, it's a week to week. It's a week to week league, and it's tough, So we got to come in and we got to go to work every week. So no matter what the game plan is, nobody knows who's gonna win when you go out there. You can have the perfect game plan and it can all go wrong. So, like I said, it's a week to week league, and we're gonna try to stay focused and worry about next week against the Colts.
A.J. Brown yesterday, another great game for A.J. Brown. Now, we had a caller that called in that talked about the Titans playing up to their opponents, the Chiefs and the Bills, playing down to their opponents, and you brought up the Jets. Mm-hmm. And I said I had a thought on that. And here's the thought. Who didn't play against the Jets?
Julio and A.J.
More importantly?
More specifically, A.J.
A.J. And I do wonder this. Everybody can say what they want preseason. What's weird about football is that 8 months out of the year, it's the most popular sport in America, and it's easily the most popular sport in the South. And so we talk football every day, whether it's on the radio, off the radio, with our friends, at the bar, at the house. We talk football every day. Like every single day, everybody talks football. I mean, Madden Sports comes out with a game once a year. And yet, how often during the draft do they show you, hey, this is what he would look like as a cowboy on Madden? They do it all the time. And so there's a lot of hype for those 8 months. Last games played, 8 months, kick the ball off. And in that, people get these opinions. And they are just, they're just solidified. This is the opinion. This is what it's going to be. This is what. Maybe the top 2 Heisman candidates coming to the end of the year. DJ Uiagalelei.
There you go.
At Clemson. And Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma.
2 who were benched on Saturday.
On the bench. But they spent 8 months saying these guys. We got stuck in our head that the Titans offense was going to be this unbelievable pick your poison, mix and match. Tannehill should be a top 10 quarterback. And I'm guilty of this too. But we got, built into this. Then it was like, okay, this is what this offense is going to be. It's going to be AJ and Derek and Julio and Josh Reynolds and Ferkser. And you're going to have to pick your poison on this, and you'll see. Last year, the Titans had 2 Pro Bowlers. The entire team. Derrick Henry and AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
When they went to the playoffs 2 years ago, everybody was talking about 2 guys. Derrick Henry and AJ Brown. And I am convinced that those are the 2 most important players on the team. The end. They can win without Taylor Lewan. They've proven that.
Mm-hmm.
They can win without Roger Saffold. He gets hurt every game. They can win without Jarrell Casey. They can win without Jeffrey Simmons. They can win without Logan Ryan. They can win without Malcolm Butler. They can win without Christian Fulton. They can't win without Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. And while I agree with a lot of people that will sit there and say, hey, this team plays up to their opponents, the Bills, down to their opponents, the Jets. I will agree with a lot of people that that's probably true, that this team does have a hard time of getting up for the lesser-known opponents, that I am worried about how they'll work this week, given the emotion of the 2 wins and the physical toll of the 2 wins. While I am worried about that for the Colts game, the thing, when I look at how they lost to the Jets, because I'm watching Sunday Night Football last night on the pregame show, and they're like, hey, Tennessee looks to be one of the contenders in the AFC, but hey, they lost to the Jets. I'm like, look, A.J. Brown didn't play that game. Tannehill got sacked 7 times in that game. And we had all this talk about, is it the line? Is it Tannehill holding on to the ball too long? Is it the receivers? And I talked to an offensive coach who has been, an offensive coordinator in the NFL who I think knows the Titans pretty well. And he told me, without putting his finger down on anything, that it was basically everything. And on one of these sacks in the Jets game, Josh Reynolds didn't get open. Tannehill had to hold on to the ball. He got sacked. Did Tannehill hold on to it too long? Did the guy who got beat not block his guy? Did Reynolds? Did you notice the touchdown pass to A.J. Brown? A.J. wasn't open when Tannehill threw that ball.
He got open.
A.J. was man for man with the guy, and Tannehill knew, I'm going to throw it up there, and A.J.'s going to beat that guy out for the football, and he did. And so while I do agree that the Titans as a team do struggle with the playing up and down to their opponents, I think while it's very easy to say, hey, I know sometimes we can beat whoever, but we can also lose to the Jets, let's remember A.J. didn't play that game. Because that's how valuable A.J. is to this team. All the other guys, Julio can miss a game. I don't want Julio to miss games. Julio can miss a game. They'll be fine. Ferkser can miss games. They'll be fine. Michael Pruitt can miss games. Josh Reynolds can be inactive. They can do. Chester Rogers missed yesterday. A.J. That's the difference. And so, let's say Derek didn't play against the Jets. Let's say A.J. played and Derek didn't. Well, wouldn't we be sitting here saying, well, they lost, but Derrick Henry didn't play. And I think that now I've realized over the last 2 weeks, in these 2 big wins where A.J. has been downright dominant, that he is not as important as Derrick, but he very clearly is the number 2.
And I hear you when you say, if Tannehill would have had a surefire target, a target that he really trusted, he maybe wouldn't have held on to the ball that long and would have saved himself a few sacks. Mm-hmm. But that offensive line against the Jets was absolutely terrible.
But but it's the same guys.
Okay, but
it's actually even worse because Lawan's out.
They don't have Lawan.
Because Bobby freaking Hart. Do you know who Bobby Hart is?
No.
Do you know where Bobby Hart went to school?
No.
Have you ever heard of Bobby Hart?
No.
Bobby Hart played left tackle yesterday for the Titans. Apparently, they claimed him off waivers off the Bills practice squad last week. And he played left tackle yesterday.
Okay.
So you're going to tell me that the Jets, who don't have Frank Clark and don't have Chris Jones, that the Jets defensive line just overpowered the Titan offensive line that day.
Well, they sacked Ryan Tannehill 7 times to the Chiefs 1.
Because A.J. Brown wasn't there. Because on that ball in the end zone where Tannehill threw it up, that touchdown to A.J. yesterday, it was a beautiful throw and it was a beautiful catch.
Yes.
Like, it was one of those ones where literally everything was great. You saw it, and like in sports, we like to do this, right? Like, who's more responsible for the Patriots dynasty? Is it Brady or is it Belichick? And nobody can ever say, well, like, it's both. Like, nobody can ever say that. That was a beautiful throw by Tannehill.
It was.
He stood in the pocket, and he put the ball up.
And he knew where A.J. Brown was going to be before A.J. Brown was there.
It was a beautiful catch by A.J., where A.J. was man for man. Tannehill knew what he was doing and knew where he was throwing the ball as soon as it was snapped. This wasn't like Tannehill was like, got the ball, saw man coverage, recognized the man coverage, then put it up because he saw A.J. open. I saw the Cedric Tillman touchdown for Tennessee on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to be open in college, you got to be like wide open with your hand in the air saying, I'm open. That's not how the NFL works. And so when the quarterback doesn't trust Josh Reynolds or Nick Westbrook-Akina, he's not throwing that ball to Nick Westbrook-Akina. He's not everything he wants to throw to those guys are slants where they're wide open in the middle of the field, and he can just put it out in front and they can just catch it and run with it. But this right here where, hey, you got the guys, I see Johnny on you, that ball's going up there to you. That's when you trust that guy out there. And so he doesn't get, my point is that line doesn't give up 7 sacks if A.J. Brown's out there because the ball's coming out sooner because he's putting it up for A.J. to go get. That's my whole point. That's why A.J. is so valuable. And the last 2 weeks have proven it. Because when push came to shove and they had to move the ball against Buffalo and Buffalo was so scared of Derrick Henry, he went A.J., 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 Nick Westbrook-Akina, A.J. And yesterday, A.J., 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 A.J. Like, that's my point is,
no,
I'm not excusing the Jets' loss. I am not. They should have won that game. But, like, when that offensive coordinator tells me, look, it's not about, oh, the left tackle's no good, the right tackle's no good, the Tannehill's holding on the ball. It all plays together. And that one play yesterday where he threw it up there, that is the difference between having an A.J. Brown and not having an A.J. Brown. And maybe I owe an apology because they lost the Jets game and Robbie and Rexro were, well, if they had A.J. and Julio out there, and I'm like, we're not doing that today because you should have beat the Jets without them. But I do feel confident that if A.J. Brown plays that game, that they win. And that maybe, like,
it's tough to say that.
I don't want to give – it's not tough for me to say that. They went to overtime with the Jets, and I think they easily would have won with A.J. But, I mean, injuries are going to happen in the NFL. I think more so, like, when you buy jerseys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you buy jerseys. I was walking on the bridge yesterday to the stadium, and I'm looking around, and every Chiefs jersey is a Mahomes jersey. Every single one.
Yeah.
But they got other good players. But I'm looking around, and most Titans jerseys are a Henry. But then I saw a Julio.
There's
and
some
then
Tannehills.
I saw a Bayard, and I saw a Lawan. But, like, what I'm telling you is that the only 2 jerseys that matter are Henry and Brown. And, I mean, Tannehill's like the quarterback, and if Logan Woodside had to play quarterback, he's probably going to lose. So throw him in there, too. But that's my point is that, like, I don't think that anybody's on Derrick's level because Derrick is the most valuable player, in my opinion, in the entire league. But I think there's a second level, and I think that's A.J. That his value to this team is more important than anybody else that you consider to be a star player. His value is more so than anybody else's. And it totally changes the game. He totally changes the game. His Tannehill's trust in him, the fact that he produces, the fact that I guarantee you that after this, now I really want to see the Rams game. Like, and I know that the Colts are obviously a bigger game than the Rams game for 1,000 reasons. But I want to see what happens when Jalen Ramsey gets put on him in that Rams game, because that's what's going to happen. Because you'd have to be crazy not to put Jalen Ramsey and just stick him on A.J. Brown and say, hey, I think I got the best corner in the league, go on A.J., and see how A.J. responds or how the Titans respond to that. But, I mean, the last 2 games, I think the proof's in the pudding that A.J. Brown is a big difference maker. And I mean a big one. Not a, well, you'd rather have more good players than less good players. Like a, you win with him, you lose without him kind of thing.
And I think also at the time the Titans played the Jets, we hadn't really seen A.J. Brown have the kind of game that he had against the Chiefs and against the Bills.
No, he had
some drop balls. You know, he wasn't the A.J. Brown as of late. So I think that was easier for us to say that having A.J. Brown and Julio Jones wouldn't have made a difference in the Jets game at that point in time because we hadn't seen classic A.J. Brown. Now, seeing what we've seen from him this season that mirrors his 2020, his 2019 seasons, it feels easier to say that. I just don't know if I'm completely convinced that A.J. Brown would have been the difference between 7 sacks and not 7 sacks.
Oh, I think A.J. Brown. I mean, I'm looking at it like you lost the game by 3 points in overtime. Does A.J. Brown make that difference there? And I think
very likely
I think he does. I think he's one of those players who makes that kind of difference. And you know me, I don't get too hyped over these guys that don't make a difference. I wanted to cut Roger Saffold and Ben Jones before they went into free agency, and everyone's like, what are we going to do without Ben Jones? I'm like, he gets hurt every game. Just go get another center. I mean, you don't have to get the best center in the NFL, but just go get another center
get a body.
Agency. Well, not a practice squad guy, but like there's going to be a guy who's cut off of another team who's got 4 years experience in the league that'll come in here for $3-4 million, bring that guy in, save the $4 million on Ben Jones. Like that's what I looked at. Saffold's hurt every game. They can win without Saffold. I hate to say it. Now, I'd rather have Saffold than not have Saffold. They can win without him. I think the reason they lost to the Jets, not the reason, but I think they win if AJ plays. And maybe I did not give AJ enough credit for that when he got hurt because his start to the season was the drops in Seattle, the hamstring injury, and they won those 2 games. But now I'm convinced. I'm convinced he's another dimension of this offense. We're to your phones because I see them. 615-737-1025. Titans Monday. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Buying a car can be overwhelming, especially now that the demand is back and in full swing. Lucky for you, my friends at Edmunds have been taking the stress out of car shopping for over 50 years. Edmunds editors drive over 500,000 miles every year, testing thousands of hours on hundreds of new vehicles. They review almost every car on the market and rank the best ones in each category, so you can narrow your search and compare options side by side to find the best vehicles for you. When you're ready, Edmunds makes it easy to find options in your area with accurate price estimates. They've got their top-rated awards, which are selected by Edmunds editors based on extensive testing and a rankings process, which considers performance, comfort, technology, fuel economy, and value. I absolutely love Edmunds for finding a car, and you should too. Edmunds is here to guide you to your perfect vehicle. Visit Edmunds.com to see the best car rankings and search for vehicles near you. That's EDMUNDS.com. For cars, there's Edmunds.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Han from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Ryan Porth back again to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. I was reading some stats recently, Dr. Rice, and I did not realize the ADA says that 80% of people in the U.S. have some form of gum disease.
That's right, Ryan, but our non-surgical periodontal therapy is painless and effective in keeping your mouth healthy, and the mouth is the window to the health of the rest of the body.
What else is new and different at Cool Springs Laser Dentistry?
Well, first, who doesn't want whiter teeth? Our new Zoom LED whitening system is less sensitive, and you get more than 5 shades of whitening. And we just upgraded both our lasers lasers to kill bacteria during your cleaning.
Some people get painful cold sores. Can lasers help that too?
Yes, the gentle laser setting will kill the virus in your cold sores all naturally while reducing the healing time by half. And our special soft tissue wand uses warm, light laser therapy to give instant relief to severe TMJ pain. Our approach to holistic dentistry is unique.
Give them a call today at 615-373-4488 or visit kellyerice.com. You'll be glad you did.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use only. Down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Every Saturday morning at 9, we hit the big topics. The Ally 400, Kyle Busch, frustrated, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and talk to the big names.
I'll go ahead and blame you.
Oh, I think it's big.
Could go a lot of different directions right now.
I was so impressed.
How cool that's going to be.
It's Chasing Checkers, Saturday morning at 9 on ESPN 102.5 The Game and wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Yeah, it feels great. You know, like you said, there's been other stretches where we've been in a groove, and we did some good things today. So, like I said, we just need to stay the course. Keep building on what we did. There's still a lot of things that we got to clean up today. You know, we didn't come out and execute well in the second half. You know, they knew we were going to try to run it and wear down the clock and burn Derek and get him as many carries as we can, and we didn't execute well enough to run out the clock and sustain first downs there in the second half. So we still have a lot of growth to get from this, but we did some good things and can build on it moving forward, no doubt.
There you go. That was Tannehill yesterday. They did do some good things. They do need to fix some things. And, I mean, I don't want to go on this rant about the Chiefs' defense, but
it's pretty bad.
Remember Jason Anderson, the midday show host in Kansas City, that told me, hey, the defense in Kansas City is not as bad as the stats make it look?
I think it's as bad as the stats make it look.
It's awful. Let's go to your phones as promised. 615-737-1025. Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus, the sparkling water with a spark. I've got my Focus right here. I actually just took down a little Focus because I am on fire today. Adam, phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam, get us started this hour. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'm so proud of that football team. I'm just excited. We were supposed to get roasted. I don't think in 22 years I've ever seen such a rounded performance against the team that we were supposed to lose to. So hey, you see Travis Kelce walk away frustrated yesterday. I watched that replay. That dude had no case, man, for that. Like, just frustrating a team that's supposed to be that good. That offense is supposed to be that good. It's so positive. I will say, I know you guys have touched on pass rush and everything looks better. Our field goal kickers making 51-yard field goals. Our punters hitting the 3-yard line. Like, special teams is really buttoned up. We didn't need it as much yesterday, I don't guess, but you think about it, man, Mahomes had to start inside the 5 a few times, in a game where they weren't clicking. So I thought special teams is wildly overrated yesterday.
So I appreciate your call, Adam. I'll say this about special teams. I mean, we all know Kern's a good punter. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought that was some of his best work that we've seen lately. But we all know Kern's a good punter. He's a perennial Pro Bowl punter. I never had a problem with Randy Bullock. Like,
he's been reliable.
He's not gonna. I mean, he hit from 51 yesterday.
Yeah.
You can't expect him to go out and hit a 51-yarder. That's not his game. But he'll hit 42, 46, 43, 42, 40. He's going to hit those. Like that, he's going to make them. So, I mean, that's fine. I didn't like the kick return where they got tackled at the 15 and Kari Blasingame got hurt. And I think ultimately special teams eventually is going to be a problem. Like, I think that's going to be an issue, the special teams. I'm not going to bang on them today because they didn't do too much. But, I mean, last week they got Cam Batson hurt for the year because he ran into a guy on a kick return. Mm-hmm. And yesterday they got Kari Blasingame hurt on a kick return. And I don't think special teams are very buttoned up. And I do think it's going to cost you a game at some point. I mean, what the special teams we're looking at right now. As far as being proud of the team, I think you should be proud of the team today. I mean, I look at it like this. When you win in sports, it's easy at the end of a season to say, hey, that team was no good. And I got to be honest, there's a chance Kansas City doesn't make the playoffs. The way that we were talking on Friday was like with this assumption that, hey, with 7 teams in the AFC, surely the Chiefs with that quarterback are going to be one of the 7. I don't feel that way today. I mean, I think there's a lot of issues with the Kansas City Chiefs. But I'm not on Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City, so they can discuss that there. I feel personally like it's kind of like college football. You beat the number 3 team in the country, and then you find out that the number 3 team in the country is really an 8-4 team. But when you beat the number 3 team in the country, they weren't 8-4 then. They thought they were the number 3 team in the country. Kansas City, after they beat Washington 31-13, albeit I told you, I saw that game and I thought, they're not very good. And I said, like, something's not right with this team. But they thought they were good. They thought, hey, a couple bumps early, we're going to get on a roll. Like we always get on a roll, we'll be fine. And now I think Kansas City's reevaluating themselves saying, well, maybe we're not going to be fine. But they didn't know that when the ball was kicked off yesterday. So I think you should feel good about your team. I think you can today look at your football club and be as proud as you've been of them at any time outside of like the Steve and Eddie days where wins like this were kind of expected. Like nobody around the country would have picked the Titans to win yesterday, but we all in Nashville knew, hey, the Titans can beat anybody. And then the Titans would go out there and win these games, and we'd be like, we told you. Like, we're good enough to win these games. As a fan, that's how I felt. You're not there yet. But I think as far as being excited about the season, being excited about your team, all those things are in play.
Oh, absolutely.
What do we have in the text line?
Elliot texts in and says, Bud Dupree is showing us how valuable he is. When he has played healthy, he has turned our defensive line into a force. Without him, Mahomes has time and is exposing our corners.
So I don't think Bud Dupree took over the game like he was Javon Curse or anything, who, by the way, I saw at the game yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And every time I see the freak, his hand, I used to play first base in high school.
Uh-huh.
When I shake his hand, I feel like I'm putting my hand in a first baseman's mitt. But he had some really, really nice things to say about Floyd. So he and I were talking about Floyd for a little bit, and it was good to see the freak yesterday at the game. So I'm not saying Bud Dupree is like the freak, where yesterday every play he went out there was fantastic. But the first drive of the game, Titans get the football. Oh, my God. We're never going to hear the end of this from Chris Sanders, that they got the football to start the game and it set the tone.
The coin toss, yeah.
So the Titans get the football, and they march right down the field, and Derrick Henry throws the pop pass to Pruitt for the touchdown. Up 7-0. Well, I'm sitting in my seat. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm sitting in my seat, and I'm like, okay, here come the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are moving the football. First it's a gain of 5 on the ground. Mm-hmm. Then it's a gain of 7 in the air. Then it's a gain of 8. Then it's a 2nd and 2, gain of 2, first down. First down and 10. Now they got a false start. Their line, not so great. They get the false start. Then they gain 6 yards. Then they gain 2, 3rd and 7 at the 50. And I'm like, okay, 3rd and 7 at the 50 with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Now, I was at Arrowhead Stadium. When I watched every time like this, I used to say, please get them off the field on this throw. And then they'd gain 16 yards. I watched Mahomes drop back, and I saw the play, and I'm like, okay, here come the Chiefs. And then I see Bud Dupree's red out of nowhere, red gloves or red arm brace or what, come out and whack Mahomes from behind, and he didn't see it. And because I sit on the side of the stadium that is opposite the side that Dupree rushes from, I saw it. I saw him coming. And I see that hand go up.
Like the Jaws theme song starts to play.
Yes.
It's like Danger Zone, Patrick Mahomes.
And I see that Dupree paw come in right at the football and go whap. And I see the ball on the ground. And I literally at that moment in time, and I tweeted it out yesterday, I said, this changes everything. Mm-hmm. If he's going to do that in third and obvious passing downs with a mobile quarterback, which is what Mahomes is, mm-hmm. If he's going to get to the quarterback on the blind side and hit the quarterback or strip the quarterback or the threat of him stripping the quarterback is there, it changes everything. Because if you were an offensive line coach or an offensive coordinator playing the Titans and you had to scheme against a player on the defensive line, it would have to be Harold Landry right now. You would have to be worried about that on the side. And here comes Bud doing what he was paid to do. This was a pay what you owe moment. And he came through, and I think that set the tone for the entire game. And like I said, I think if Bud can do that consistently, it is a game changer. So, I'm not getting all worked up because I thought Autry had a great game, just like Bud had a great game. Landry had a great game, just like Bud had a great game.
Rashaan Evans had a pretty solid game.
Evans made the interception that David Long Jr. But if this is consistent with Bud, now everything changes about how we feel about the Titans, in my opinion. That is one of the things that can totally change it all around. We're back to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. Let me tell all the fine folks out there, again, Reaction Monday here on Stillman and Company, presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, the sparkling water with a spark. ESPN 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Listen in Wednesday as Nashville SC takes on Cincinnati. Pregame starts at 6:15 and the match begins at 6:30. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms continue to move east into East Tennessee. That's going to open the door for us to see still some breezy conditions, but a little bit of sunshine out there with highs in the upper 60s this afternoon.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Staples Connect is a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. and Friday at 3:15 to hear News 2's Corey Curtis take on all things Nashville sports, including the week's NFL games. All brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, body shaping, and more.
The 2021 Major League Soccer season isn't over yet, Nashville. Are you in? There's just one regular season home match remaining as we make our final push for a playoff spot. Don't miss the action on Sunday, November 7th at 2:30 p.m. against New York Red Bulls at Nissan Stadium. Come be a part of the most unique sports experience in Nashville. Tickets are on sale now from just $22 at NashvilleSC.com. Everyone in.
How'd you like that?
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. A final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Yo, this is Just from City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage apparel and shoe needs. We partner with 1025 The Game to provide you all an exclusive discount today. Come to our shop today, located in East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, and say The Game at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. If you're unable to make it in, we got some for you as well. All of our products in store are also available on our website at musiccityvtg.com. Just use promo code GAME at checkout and get 10% off your order.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Right now, they're running a tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right. A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. You get 6 months no-interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, locally owned and operated, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
3 takeaways today. Seems like they've been coming in bunches. Is that just a matter of doing the same things and now the ball's kind of falling?
Well, I think so. I think we're just trying to chart and track attempts, and again, everybody's screaming for Kevin to hammer it, and it was only a matter of time before he got over there and did that. But you just have to keep, going after the attempts. You have to keep, staying on your feet when you rush, and the quarterback pumps it. But that's the guy we got to take it away from. That's got to be the number one target every week.
There you go. Vrabel says, hey, we've been working on it, but Bayer did punch the ball out from Patrick Mahomes. I thought that was kind of icing on the cake right now. I didn't think that was like a game-changing play. I think the game was kind of determined then. Mm-hmm. But I think that was really, putting your foot on the Chiefs after you had them down, just kind of kicking them down there while they're down, which I'm for. And I will say this. You beat the Chiefs 2 years ago at Nissan Stadium. It was a fluky, everything had to go right. They had to screw up, everything had to go wrong, kind of. You just kicked their butts.
There was no fluke to that.
No.
There was no blown call.
Back to your phone, 615-737-1025.
Well, last segment we talked a lot about Bud Dupree, but Chip from Mount Juliet says that Nico Autry is the best offseason signing.
Jared's pick to click yesterday on the pregame show presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment. I love the Autry signing the second it happened. Mm-hmm. I think that when you go back to this football team when they were good in the Steve and Eddie days, those defensive linemen, and they rotated them, but those defensive linemen, Jim Washburn was the defensive line coach. And you talk to any of these people that covered the team back then, Willie and Darren and Mark Howard, and you talk to these guys about Jim Washburn as defensive line coach, Kurse, Hainsworth, Vanden Bosch, Kevin Carter. But then it's the other guys too, like Jason Fisk and Joe Salavea, and Henry Ford and Robert Smith, and those guys, they could rotate them in and out all the time. Javon Curse broke his foot week 1 of the 2002 season. They put in a 7th-round draft pick from Arkansas by the name of Carlos Hall, and he went out to have 10 sacks that year. And they just defensive line. When I went to training camp, and I used to always think that football practice was more complicated than anything else. And I've decided that it's really not. I went this is the first year where I went pretty much every day to training camp. And I noticed right away, Kendall Lamb's not going to be the right tackle. Dylan Radin stinks, which that's a whole nother thing. Dylan Radin stinks. Marcus Johnson and Chester Rogers are going to make the team. And I kept talking about the defensive line depth. And I kept saying, they got Tart and Murchison and Simmons and Autry, and I'm like, they can just keep rolling these guys in and out, and they can stay fresh throughout the course of the game, as opposed to playing Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry on every snap like they had to last year, and I think that's been a factor. But I have always liked Autry. I thought Autry was a huge piece to the Colts puzzle, and I know they gave DeForest Buckner all that money, but would you even want Michael Jordan if you couldn't have Scottie Pippen? Like, would you really want, like, do you really think you'd win the NBA title every year if you didn't have Scottie Pippen next to Michael Jordan? I don't think you would. Like, I think you've got to have those players, and I think that Autry was the perfect complement to Buckner. So to take Autry away from them and make him the perfect complement next to Simmons, I think is a big deal. I think Autry's been awesome. I love the signing when they made it, and he's done everything that I thought that he'd come in here and do. He'd be good against the run. He'd solidify the line. He'd sack the quarterback a little, and he's done all of that. And he's only making $7 million. All these other guys you got to pay are making $15 million, $18 million, $30 million, and he's making $7 million. What's next?
Weston in Columbia texts in and says, we beat a team that isn't very good. Kansas City isn't the same team they were 2 years ago. They aren't even the same team they were last year. Titans played good, but they still don't look like a team that can win the Super Bowl. Definitely not if you compare them to the Bucs or the Rams or the Cardinals.
Can we compare them to the Bills?
Yeah, and they beat the Bills.
Okay. So I told you that in order to win the Super Bowl, you're going to have to win that Bills game 3 or 4 times. Well, the Chiefs may not be a playoff team, but when the Chiefs walked in here yesterday, they and everybody else, in spite of their losses, thought that they were the defending AFC champions, the 2-time defending AFC champions. And they were. I mean, I don't take away from Georgia's win over Clemson because Clemson stinks. Because when Georgia beat Clemson, we thought that was a monumental, humongous win for Georgia. Mm-hmm. Now we probably look at it and say Georgia didn't win by enough.
I said that exact thing on Saturday. I said, how did Georgia only beat Clemson by a touchdown? This team sucks.
But they don't know that then. And I think yesterday, if Kansas City is in fact a bad team, I think yesterday was the moment where they kind of learned, oh, crap, we suck. And we've talked about those moments that we've had in times where you look at it and you're like, man, we're not very good. And that was that moment right there.
But the fact that even after the Chiefs lost to the Bills, we thought this Chiefs team is still going to make the playoffs. Even after this Chiefs team lost to the Ravens, we thought this Chiefs team was still going to make the playoffs. So it's not like coming in here, we were like, yeah, the sorry, good-for-nothing Chiefs, and now all of a sudden we're celebrating it.
Nobody said that.
Nobody
said that except optimistic Chris Sanders, who picked the Titans to win. Coming up next here on Stillman and Company, speaking of those Chiefs, do we knock this win because of Kansas City? What do we make of that? We'll get to that coming up next. TriStar Moving. Those are my official movers. I moved almost a year ago, like 50 weeks ago, I moved with TriStar Moving. And I'm still talking about it today. Why? Because it was an unbelievable move. And I think everybody I know absolutely hates moving. But now, whenever I move, people are like, hey, do you know a good mover? I'm like, TriStar, here's their number. Talk to them. TriStar Moving. That's why their motto is TriStar Movers with 5-star service. From the initial phone call to the final signature, moving was a breeze. They did a great job. They protected everything. They protected my old home, my new home, everything. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians, and they want to help out their consumers because those are their neighbors just like me and you. That's why they are the real deal and on the rise quickly because of the high standard that they hold. So if you're looking to move, just get a bid. Call my friends at TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219. Visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are 2 guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing, November 5th, 6th, and 7th, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. If your AC or heater is old and inefficient, you can replace it with up to 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. That's right, 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 6 months no interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. It is a Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus. That's right, the sparkling water with a spark. Drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. And again, I've got my Focus. Caroline just tried her first Focus. By the way, I went to Publix today, and I bought the Focus. The manager, or one of the workers at Publix, when I walked in, you have to wear a mask in Publix, and I was like, hey, can I get a mask? Because I just didn't have one with me.
Right.
And he was like, yeah. He's like, you're who I think you are. I was like, yeah.
I am Derrick Henry.
And and he showed me right to the Focus, but he told me that I looked like I lost some weight, so I was like, oh, that's good. That's
you
good.
look great.
Because I definitely have not. So that's
because you've been focused.
I've been focused. So anywho, I think what's funny is that a lot of times in life, like name brand is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like name brand. Like when I tell you.
Reputation for a brand.
When I look at the rest of the Titans schedule, and I tell you that outside of the Rams, they don't have a single good team left, you would be like, is that true? And then you would pull up their schedule and you say, well, the Steelers, the Patriots,
the Saints,
like those are good teams. Tom Brady's not New England. Drew Brees isn't in New Orleans, and Pittsburgh's a shell of themselves. Now, maybe they can win, but they're not good teams. The team you beat Monday night, that's a good team. The team you're going to play in 2 weeks, the Rams, that's a good team. The team you lost to week 1, that's a good team. So name brand means a lot, especially like college football, right? Like these people will beat Texas, and they'll storm the field even though Texas has stunk for 15 years or however long it's been since Vince Young was there. Like, but yet it's still Texas. I mean, it's like like a radio station that once was a really good sports station, and then they lost all their good people, and now they're just not that good anymore. And sometimes some people think they're good, and most people know they're probably not. And what happens is over time, and I think in all the instances I just showed you, time will show that you realize they're not very good. And I look at the Chiefs yesterday, and we had the discussion on Friday, and I was talking to my buddies at the game, and I said this yesterday where I was like, on Friday we did a segment about whether or not the Chiefs were good, and it was kind of like a made-for-radio segment of like, so are the Chiefs good? I mean, on one hand, they're the two-time defending AFC champions. For 3 years, they've dominated this conference. They've got Patrick Mahomes, who may end up in the Hall of Fame. And on the other hand, they're 3-3. And Ian and I both said that we think they're going to win the division on Friday. And, well, now we've seen the Chiefs. Like, intimately, we've seen the Chiefs. Are the Chiefs any good? And I'm going to vote no.
And it's puzzling, right? A team with probably the best quarterback in the league. You could make the argument one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Patrick Mahomes. You have Tyreek Hill. You have Travis Kelce, who's probably the best tight end in the league. You have Tyrann Mathieu, you have a Pro Bowl defensive back. Why aren't they good? They have the pieces of being a good team. There are so many core parts of that team that remain from the 2019 Super Bowl win and the 2020 Super Bowl run.
Why are the Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide the best team in the SEC almost every year?
Because they have a really good defense.
And they got big boys on that line every year. And they are not starting, for the most part. Every now and then they'll move a guy in there. They're not starting true freshmen on the offensive line. Jeremy Pruitt actually recruited some pretty decent offensive linemen. He started them right away. Well, you're not going to be a great offensive line that way. It takes time on the offensive line. You know, you've got to be in that room. It takes time for that line to gel. It takes time. And I'm convinced that on the lines, the Chiefs aren't very good. Now, they got Chris Jones back, and you would think that ultimately that's going to be a big deal. But I think it's the lines. I think it's the not sexy element. It's like, well, I mean, they got all these great players, Hill and Kelce and Mahomes and this one and that one. And
Patrick Mahomes can't throw to Travis Kelce if he's on the ground.
The line, and it's chemistry. It's not that these guys on the line for the Chiefs are no good. Joe Thuney is like a $14 million guard. Orlando Brown Jr. is like an $18 million tackle. We all know Trey Smith is a bad boy at right guard as long as those blood clots don't become an issue. But they got to gel. It takes time. And with him, he's got to trust the line, just like he's got to trust his receivers. And I don't think he trusts the line. And so I think he's staring at the rush because he doesn't trust the line. And you're getting through because the line hasn't gelled, because they had to scrap their entire line a year ago. And it takes time. But I do wonder this. Do we knock the enormity of the Titans' win because the Chiefs aren't that good? And I'm going to say no. And I'm going to use two examples for this. By the time the season is over, I assume that the Seahawks win will not look very good. Yeah, you went to Seattle, but Seattle's going to finish 9-8 or 8-9 or 7-10 or whatever. Seattle's going to miss the playoffs for the first time, and I can't remember how long it's been since they haven't been in the playoffs. And people will say, what's wrong with Pete Carroll and what's wrong, and Russell was hurt. But when you went to Seattle, they were the defending NFC West champs. They had Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback. It was the first game in Seattle with full fans in a year and a half.
Which is a very menacing environment.
And you went in there and beat them. Fair and square. And so I look at the Seattle win still as a good win. Even though when Geno Smith keeps losing games for them, and that defense is obviously not very good, but when Geno Smith keeps losing games for them, it'll look worse and worse and worse over time. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. I had somebody text me today who said, I don't know if you guys are going to look at this, but look at the Chiefs. They currently have a 1-4 AFC record, and they have games left with Green Bay. 2 times they play the Raiders, Dallas, at the Chargers, at Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of games. They've already got 4 losses. let's say they lose to Dallas.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a given at this point.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
1 to the Raiders. So now you're at 7 losses for the Chiefs. And at the Chargers, you're 9-8. I don't think 9-8 is going to get you into the playoffs when you lose all those AFC games. So, and they won't have any tiebreakers because they lost to the Ravens,
the Bills,
they
the
lost
Ravens,
to
the
Bills,
Titans.
the Titans. They've lost
if
to the Chargers.
If they lose to the Chargers,
or
they already lost to the Chargers,
and because, so I don't know, but me personally, I don't think I take away from the importance of the Titans win, especially because it was so dominant. I don't think I take away from it yesterday that, Kansas City's not very good. I don't think I detract the Titans win a little bit because when that game got kicked off, Kansas City thought they were going to win that game, and Kansas City thought they were going to circle the wagons, and Kansas City thought that they were going to be back in the AFC playoff picture and eventually back in the top 4 seeds and back in the divisional round and back in the title game and back in the Super Bowl. When they woke up yesterday morning at whatever hotel they stayed at, they woke up on those pillows and they thought they were going to the Super Bowl. Now I think they're serious out there, where they've lost to all of the top teams that they played in the AFC. They still haven't played the Bengals yet. They still haven't played the Packers. They still haven't played the Cowboys. And now they know every game that they play the rest of the way is going to have to be a dogfight. In 2016, the Titans beat the Packers. And I said this at the top of the show, that I thought this was the most dominant win over a true contender since the Titans went to Carolina and won in 2003. And somebody said to me, what about Green Bay in 2016? Green Bay was horrible when the Titans played them in 2016. Aaron Rodgers held a press conference after they lost, I think, the next week. And Aaron said, we have to run the table, and we're going to. And then they did run the table, and they won like 7 in a row, and they finished 10-6 and made the playoffs. And maybe Kansas City does that this year. I doubt it. But at the point that you played the Packers, they weren't very good. So it wasn't like you looked at them as a Super Bowl contender when you beat them. I didn't think the win over the Patriots 3 years ago, was as dominant as this win was. That's why I look at this win as, wow, this was truly dominant over a team that everybody in the country, as of noon yesterday, thought was a contender. So I'm not taking away from the win, but I do wonder if the Chiefs are any good.
Well, I don't take away from the win for a few reasons similar to yours, in that we entered this game still thinking that the Kansas City Chiefs had a shot at the playoffs. We expected that they were going to make the playoffs. I thought they were going to be second in the West behind the Chargers. You and Ian both thought they were going to win the division.
They were in the division.
We thought they were still going to be a dominant team in the postseason. So now, all of a sudden, now that the Titans blew them out of the water, I'm not just going to say, oh, well, they suck, so it doesn't really mean anything. Same reason why the loss to the Arizona Cardinals, I'm not just writing off because the Arizona Cardinals are heads and shoulders better above what we thought they were going to be, because the Titans still didn't play well. So even though I expected the Titans to beat the Cardinals are way better than we expected them to be, that's still a bad loss in my mind, because in my mind, they were still not going to be a very good team. Also, this wasn't just a slim win. This wasn't a call that went in the Titans' favor. I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs are anywhere close to where they were in 2019 and 2020, but the Titans made them look bad, and they capitalized on the mistakes that the Kansas City Chiefs made. So this wasn't just a game that the Kansas City Chiefs put on a silver platter and gave to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans put some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. The Titans took advantage of their turnovers. The Titans very much so won that game, and it wasn't just because the Chiefs are bad. It's because they capitalized on how
some of it is because the Chiefs suck.
It wasn't just because the Chiefs suck.
That Chiefs defense is terrible.
It's bad.
I mean, it's not just bad. It's like, it is really, truly, it's worse than the Titans defense was last year. By every metric. It is worse than the Titans defense. Like, the Chiefs do suck. I mean, like, they may go on to be a good team.
But I don't think that's the only reason why the Titans won
The Chiefs,
that game.
they are, and I don't think that either. But what the Chiefs are right now, like, they suck. Like, I don't know who needs to hear this. The Chiefs suck. Like, they're awful right now. But I still don't take away from the win.
No.
Because I think, Kansas City knew that they needed to get their act in order, and they came in here and got dominated. And I think that it was kind of a realization for them that they may not be as good as they think they are. But when the ball got kicked off, they did think they were that good. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get back to your phones because, of course, it is a Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus, and it is a Titans Monday, 615-737-1025. I do have some beef that I do want to get to at some point that does bother me about yesterday's game. The one thing that finally it just snapped me, and it's going to be one of these like long Stillman crazy rants, but we'll get to your phones next. 615-737-1025. Plus, the one difference between your two Chief wins and why this one, I think, needs to be circled a little bit more. We'll get to that next right here on Stillman and Company. Let me tell everybody out there about the fact that Preds fans join us for Smashville Live this Wednesday. The show will air on Wednesdays during the Preds season from 6 to 7 and feature players, former players, and other special guests. You can watch the show via 1025 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Be sure to join us this hockey season for Smashville Live. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Swing and a ball hammered. Right field. Down the line. Gone! Eddie Rosario!
The Atlanta Braves are headed to the World Series.
Ground ball left side. Swanson up with his spin. Throws. Got him at first. The Atlanta Braves are champions of the National League and head back to the World Series.
Every game of the Fall Classic will be heard on 1025 The Game or ESPN 94.9, plus the Game Nashville app.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use only. Down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Even with the national supply shortage, Hi-Fi Buys retail store stocked up months ago for this week's 44th anniversary.
We have a huge in-stock selection of 4 and 8K TVs,
projectors, speakers,
soundbars,
subwoofers, streaming players, and more.
And because we planned ahead for this event,
we made special purchases before most manufacturer prices increased. Now we're passing those savings on to you.
Let's talk TVs.
We have nearly every Sony TV in stock, plus great prices on Samsung, LG, Sierra.
Some year-end models we're practically giving away.
Do not wait. Shop for the holidays now. Shortages are happening and prices are going up.
Get the best for less now.
At Hi-Fi Buys, when we have a sale, it's a real deal. Just the very best quality for the very best price. Some sale prices can't be displayed. See sales associate for your special price. Get over to Hi-Fi Buys 44th anniversary sale. This week only. This sale will not be extended. Hi-Fi Buys. See us on Nolensville Road or HiFiBuysNashville.com.
Custom division, special order, and manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
Fiero Tequila Habanero is for those who enjoy the flavor of spice, naturally infused with fresh, vine-ripened peppers from farmers in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Fiero Tequila Habanero is unapologetically the spiciest infused tequila available in the U.S. The hand-picked habaneros provide a delicious kick to the smooth Blanco tequila. It's a flavor punch that's perfect as a shot or a spicy way to spice up your hard seltzer, or perfect for a fiery cocktail. Available at fine liquor stores and your favorite drinking establishments. Lovitz. Fiero Tequila. The world belongs to the brave.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
How much will these 2 wins go as far as showing this team what it's capable of doing? And it sounds like a lot of guys are saying, hey, even though we've been this good, we haven't done anything yet. What's the balance like, and feeling good about yourselves, but don't get too excited?
Yeah, definitely 2 tough teams. Who's been a force, in the AFC for a couple of years now, and just enjoy these wins, but take it week by week. Don't get too overwhelmed on what's going on. Trust and believe in what we do, and then get ready to come back to work and get better.
You know what's funny is when everybody else talks about the win, hey, we haven't done anything yet. They're not handing out the Super Bowl trophy. They're not. I feel like everybody's trying to suppress their own excitement. Mm-hmm. I don't think he is. I think that's just how he answers questions.
Derrick Henry is pretty, same even level tone no matter what he's talking about.
Well, when I talk about these other guys, you beat the Bills and the Chiefs. Now you have the Colts get back to work. It is very much a cliche to say, hey, in the NFL you got to get back to work, and you never know, and you got to take every. But it's really easy. I'm this way. If I lose weight, then I tell myself, even though I try not to, I'm I can go ahead and do this right here.
I can reward myself.
If I step on a scale and it's a little too heavy, I'm nope, not doing that crazy stuff.
Back to work.
I think that's how NFL teams are, the mediocre ones, where they know in their head, hey, we got to get back to work and we got to do this, but they just kind of know, there's not a lot of urgency, for this tomorrow. Whereas I think, with Derrick Henry, it's back to work. It's all right, I just ran for 300 yards at Alabama on Missouri, and now I'm playing Mississippi State, so it's time for me to go run for another 300 yards. Back to work. So I'm not worried about him. The other guys maybe so. So the Titans have now won 3 of their last 4 matchups with the Chiefs. They beat them in the playoffs in Arrowhead, Mike Mularkey's last win. They then beat them here at Nissan Stadium in 2019. Tannehill led a comeback. And they beat them yesterday. They lost, obviously, in the AFC title game. But I think there's one big difference about this Titans win than those 3. And I don't know what you want to make of it, but the big difference to me is that the Titans not only controlled this game, and in all 3 of those games, they didn't, but that there was not one fluky element of yesterday's game. There wasn't some weird, other than maybe the David Long interception where he turned around, hit the ball in the air, and Rashaan Evans dove for it and intercepted it, but Kansas City probably would have punted and you would have had the ball around there anyways. There wasn't some weird, wild, crazy, kooky play. When the Titans went into Arrowhead and won a playoff game in 2017, Marcus Mariota on 4th down threw a touchdown pass to himself. That had been done, I think, the last time in a regular season game 20 years earlier, and I'm not sure that had ever been done in a playoff game, that a quarterback threw a touchdown pass to themselves. That was a weird, fluky game. Travis Kelce was annihilating the Titans, and he got concussed right before the half, and it totally changed the game. When you played the Chiefs in 2019 and beat them, you had a Damian Williams fumble returned by Rashaan Evans for a touchdown. You had 2 botched field goals that came out of nowhere at the end of the game that Kansas City couldn't connect on that would have won them the game. This, you took the opening drive, went down the field, scored a touchdown. And you can't call a Derrick Henry pop pass a fluke because that's a play. You called that play. You go down the field, you beat them. They get the ball back, you strip sack them. You get the ball, you move down the field, A.J. Brown touchdown. You get the ball back, you move down the field. There was nothing fluky about yesterday's game. Now, you can make of that what you want. That in the last 4 matchups, you've won 3 of them. 2 of them, you required an absolute fluke or a handful of flukes in order to find a way to barely win those games. Yesterday, you didn't need any of that. You can decide the reason why. But to me, that's the big difference between this game and the other ones where you've beaten them, where you come out of that game and it's yeah, but. Here, the only but might be that Kansas City's not very good. But the Chargers didn't beat them this bad, and the Ravens didn't beat them this bad. The Ravens beat them by a point. Buffalo did beat them this bad. That's my biggest takeaway is that, I mean, you really didn't leave any doubt yesterday. I mean, you really showed them. But again, you can come up with the why for that.
Well, yeah, and I always use the argument of, okay, if they play this game 10 times, how many times do they win it? Mm-hmm. And we said earlier in the show, the Titans play this game 10 times, they win it 8 or 9 times based off of how they played yesterday. Just how dominant they were, the momentum that they had at the very beginning of the game that just continued to build and to build and to build throughout the game. Now, that Bills game, the Titans and Bills play it 10 times. I mean, it could be a 50-50 split down the middle. Because
do you think it's a 50-50 split down the middle?
Maybe not. It could be in the Bills' favor.
What do you think? 10 times Titans-Bills. How many times do the Titans win?
Maybe 4 or 5.
Ian, how many times do the Titans win against the Bills?
I'd say 4 is about right.
I'd go with about 3. I mean, I think that the Bills are.
The Bills are the real deal. The Bills are a great team.
Better team.
And it came down to, a goal line stand. So, to that, I mean, the Titans won that game fair and square, very obviously. But, using that same argument, you cannot argue that the Kansas City Chiefs got snubbed or it was a bad call or whatever it may be. It could have come down to, a 4th down goal line stand, whatever it may be. I mean, the Titans won that game.
There's also another theory here that no one's touched on, that there was not a major injury for the opponent in these games. Chris Jones played yesterday. Mm-hmm. Frank Clark played yesterday. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill all played yesterday. Josh Allen played.
Stephon Diggs played.
Cole Beasley played. Tre'Davious White played. They all played. And in the last 2 weeks, when you beat Buffalo, played. And I think that's probably another big factor surrounding this game.
Off the top of my head, none of those players that we just listed were coming off of injuries either.
Jones. Chris Jones, I think, made a season debut.
So Chris Jones.
But yes.
But I don't think that it would have been a healthy Chris Jones away from the Chiefs winning that game.
I mean, a healthy Chris Jones does a lot of things. I mean, Chris Jones, if there was an AFC championship game MVP award like there is in baseball, the NLCS MVP, Chris Jones may have won that award that day. I mean, he was a total monster. Let's get back to your phone. 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have in there?
One texter texts into the text line and says, should we talk about how much Kansas City was overrated going into this week? 3-3 going in, they were overvalued.
Didn't we just talk about that for 30 minutes?
Well, I think we talked about how we now know that the Chiefs aren't as good as we may have played them out to be. So, yeah, I guess, they were overvalued going into this game.
I mean, see, this is the thing that pisses me off about sports talk radio. And I think it honestly drives me insane about sports media in general, which is everybody is so afraid to have been wrong. And I never worry about that. If I truly believe something, I mean, really believe it, and I'm wrong about it, I'll tell you. I'll say, hey, I didn't think the Predators in 2017 were going to beat the Chicago Blackhawks. Couldn't believe that they swept them. I will be the first person to tell you, if John Hines turns the Predators around and they go to the Cup final this year, I'll be the first person to say, I didn't see that coming. But I feel like in sports media, we wait until somebody is down, and then we say, well, they were down. We should have known that they were. It's no. We talked on Friday. Were the Chiefs a good team? That was an hour-long topic on Friday. Mm-hmm. We took calls. We took texts. We all gave our opinions. And Ian and I both thought the Chiefs were going to win the division, the AFC West, on Friday. So this idea of do we need to take in consideration whether or not Kansas City? We just did 30 minutes talking about that, and we said no. Because Kansas City just won a game last week, 31-13. And I told you when I watched that game, I didn't think Kansas City looked all that good.
I think the Washington football team is just that bad.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I told you the line. I said there's a chemistry issue with the line. I told TD last week when he was on the show. Mm-hmm. There's a chemistry issue with the line and the quarterback. And now it's obvious to me But this idea of like, well, you know, we shouldn't talk about this Chiefs win because on Friday, on Saturday, on the pregame show Sunday morning, we all thought, hey, you know, these are the Chiefs. And I'm going to say one other thing about the Chiefs. If they backdoor their way into the playoffs, I think the Titans right now have a realistic shot at being the number 2 or 3 seed in the AFC. One is going to be hard. And it's going to be hard for a couple of reasons. Buffalo doesn't play anybody good the rest of the way. I think they have one game against a team with a winning record the rest of the way. So Buffalo's probably going to stack a bunch of these wins. And again, it's a lot of Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, and you're going to win all those games. But if you're the 2 seed, you get the 7 seed in the AFC. I don't want to see that team in the 7th game. I do not want wild card weekend in Nashville and that guy at quarterback to come back in here. Because I know he can play. I much rather see Derek Carr in the Raiders. I much rather see Big Ben in the Steelers. I much rather see those 2 teams than see Patrick Mahomes show back up here. And I say that right now in this sitting where I don't think the Chiefs are very good. I thought they sucked yesterday. I think their defense is atrocious. I think they got offensive line issues. But if they say they sweep the Raiders and they steal the game against the Bengals, which that is a hot take, they steal the game against the Bengals, they win a game here or there, they finish 10-7, and they sneak their way into the playoffs, and here you are at 14-3 or 13-4, and all of a sudden you get Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the first round of the playoffs, count me out. No thank you, I'm playing the Chiefs again. So maybe we're not undervaluing them, or maybe we're overvaluing them now.
Or, I mean, I think that we have a fair assessment of the Chiefs right now. They're not as good, nearly as good as we thought they were going to be coming into the season, but they still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have Travis Kelce. They still have Tyreek Hill. So I'm not counting out the fact that this Chiefs team could turn things around in the middle of the season. Not counting that out at all. But I do think there is something to say that they weren't able to turn things around against the Titans.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. There was another element about yesterday's game that the Titans proved to us, or that I saw out of the Titans, that is different from the games that even when they won, we had some reservations about, like the Colts win, the Jacksonville win, even maybe some issues with the Bills win that we saw yesterday that I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is, but we'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Who loves a good night sleep? I love a good night's sleep. That's why I love my Boll & Branch sheets. That's right. You would think, like, how important are sheets to a guy like me or you? And the answer is a lot. They are very important. Why? Because getting a good night's sleep is always atop the list. I got my Boll & Branch sheets a couple of weeks ago, and ever since I've been using them, I am so glad every time I get underneath the covers. That's right. If you dream of a comfortable sheet at a price that won't keep you up all night, look no further than Boll & Branch. I absolutely love the fact that when I sleep on these Boll & Branch satin sheets, that I know I'm getting a good night's sleep. I'm not going to wake up irritated or with a rash or anything crazy like that. The sheets are just so comfortable. I love the comfort, the sustainability, and the quality, and they're all at a fair price. Their signature hem sheets from Boll & Branch are a bestseller, and that is for a reason. They're made to a higher standard where 100% of the cotton is organic, ethical production, and thoughtful attention in every detail. Experience the best sheets you've ever felt at bollandbranch.com. Get 20% off your first set of sheets when you use the promo code JARED at checkout. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com, promo code JARED.
Tuesday night.
Oh, the rebound just shoveled wide, and then they bank it in. Philip Tomasino.
The Nashville Predators are back on home ice in Smashville to take on the San Jose Sharks in Western Conference action. Pre-game at 6:30, face-off at 7:30 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit community blood center, announces the opening of their new blood center at 600A Fraser Drive in Cool Springs. Now Williamson County has a new, convenient, comfortable, state-of-the-art blood center for donors to give the gift of life. Blood Assurance centers are the only facilities in Middle Tennessee where all blood donated goes to help many of our area local hospitals. To view the center's hours and to make an appointment, visit bloodassurance.org/schedule. Give life, give blood, give local.
Hey Nashville, we think you deserve the very best driving experience, and now is the time for our Season of Change CPO event at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. When you purchase a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you're backed by the remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. A final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Right now, they're running a tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right. A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. You get 6 months no-interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, locally owned and operated, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
What does it mean for you guys on offense to see the defense play that way against an offense that talented?
It was huge, man. It was a lot of fun. I was loving watching those guys play. You know, they're flying around, seeing Harold bend on the edge, Bud's on the other side. They're meeting at the QB. You know, David's flying around, making tackles all over the place. Secondary's covering. You know, they have a lot of firepower on the other side, and we covered them and made it hard on them today. So, you know, as an offensive guy, when you're seeing your own defense play like that, it's a lot of fun. You know, they're getting turnovers, giving us the ball back. And it was huge the way they played today.
There you go. That was Ryan Tannehill. Defense did play well against Kansas City's offense. I thought defense, very impressive performance. The heat meter on Shane Bowen, definitely down a little bit compared to what I thought it was going to be coming into these two games. Definitely down a little bit. But I do have a thought about the Titans' wins this season. They've beaten the Seahawks. They've beaten the Colts. They've beaten the Bills. They've beaten the Jags. And now they've beaten the Chiefs. In the Colts, Jags, and Bills games, I needed more from Ryan Tannehill. Like in all three of those games, I felt like Tannehill did not play up to his standards. And in the Bills game, you can tell me that he was 9 for 9 in the second half. I'll argue that was set up because Buffalo didn't want to give up another 76-yard run to Derrick Henry. And if it wasn't for Derrick Henry, there wouldn't have been a need for 9 of 9 in the second half. So this is all about, you know, the 9 of 9 it's like a cherry pick stat to me. The Seahawk game, other than the fumble that led to a Seahawk touchdown, I thought Tannehill was excellent. in the Seahawks game. And I know he didn't throw for a touchdown. I thought he threw one to Julio Jones that got taken off the board. But I thought he was excellent in the game. A.J. dropped the ball on him. Whatever. I did not like what I saw from him in the Colts game. I did not like what I saw from him in the Jags game. Outside of his interception, which drove me crazy. Outside of his interception, I thought Tannehill was excellent yesterday. Now, I think they've got to figure out what the why is on that. You know, that Tannehill played so well in this game and played so well in the fourth quarter of the Bills game and played so well in the Seahawks game, and other than that, has not played up to the standard that he had set before. I think that's a big question about why. Because his performance yesterday doesn't wipe everything away that we've seen so far this season. But Ryan Tannehill out-threw Patrick Mahomes yesterday, 270 to 206. His average yards per attempt or average yards per completion were almost double Mahomes, 10 to 5.9. Now, he did have the interception, and his rating was 105, which was still good. But I keep thinking about yesterday's game, and I remember an old Jared and the GM topic 2 years ago, which was, could Tannehill outthrow Mahomes? And Floyd laughed and said no. And he would not hear of the possibility of Tannehill outthrowing Mahomes. In that game, Tannehill threw 181, Mahomes threw 446. In this game, Tannehill 270, Mahomes 206. So something is up right there. And I wonder if AJ being back in the lineup is the difference in good Tannehill versus bad Tannehill. Or not good enough Tannehill. I shouldn't say bad Tannehill. Not good enough Tannehill. Is having AJ and Derek the key there? Was Kansas City's defense just so bad there? Has the team gelled there? Like, I wonder kind of what the missing link was. Because, again, outside of that interception, which I'm not going to let go, because it drove me bananas. Because against good teams, those interceptions can't happen. Tannehill was awesome yesterday. Awesome yesterday.
Tannehill was outstanding yesterday.
Awesome.
But if you look at that interception, you could tell he was getting nervous because he was getting blitzed. He was getting pressured. And I think that's where the root of a lot of Tannehill's issues come from, is when he's pressured, when he stays in the pocket too long, when he holds onto the ball too long, which we mentioned the Jets game very much so could have been because there was no A.J. Brown. He had no reliable receiver to throw to.
Yep.
So he held onto the ball longer, looking for just someone that he could reliably throw the ball to. But that interception yesterday, the only blemish on his report card from the Kansas City game was that interception because he was getting pressure.
And here's what I hate about the interception. You're up 27-3. I mean, I thought the game was pretty much over at that point.
Yeah.
But I know if you score a touchdown, and you go up 34-3, the game is over. The Atlanta Falcons were not even up that much in the Super Bowl. The game is over if you score a touchdown there. But even if you kick a field goal and you make it 30-3, that's still better than that Falcon 28-3 mess.
27-3 with the momentum and the way that things were going with Kansas City at that point.
3rd and 2 at the Kansas City 19. Take the sack. Like, I mean, this is the thing that kills me about Tannehill. And I love the attitude, and there are some times where you can't take a sack. You're at the 38-yard line. You need a field goal to tie or a field goal to win. You cannot take the sack. 3rd and 2 at the 19. They call a blitz. You don't pick it up. Get down on the ground and let them just kind of jump on you a little bit. Don't take that pop. But, I mean, he is so afraid of the sack sometimes that these pants-crapping interceptions, which is what they are, I don't know.
Total freak out. I mean, it went right into the hands of the Chiefs defender.
This is a weekly occurrence with him. This is a weekly occurrence of him where he's afraid of the sack and he throws a ball he shouldn't throw. I can remember one last season that he threw like that. They were playing the Ravens, and somebody, I think it was McNichols, didn't pick up the blitzer. Tyus Bowser blitzed, and he threw it right over the middle, and Patrick Queen intercepted it. And that was like, dude, you can't panic. But that happened once. This happens like once a game with Tannehill. That's my one beef with Tannehill yesterday. Other than that, Tannehill was awesome. And so now you got to figure out what the why is there. Because we learned last year that when a team is fully committed to stopping Derrick Henry, which Kansas City was, that's why I'm not mad. Derrick had 80-plus yards. Good for Derrick.
But still, that's like for any other running back, that's a pretty solid day. 80-something yards. It's just not a Derrick Henry 150-yard day.
A running back from the Bears named Herbert, I've never heard of, had more rushing yards than Derrick Henry yesterday.
Okay, but like...
I have never heard of this Herbert. I don't even know where he went to college. But
if you look at a running back, 86 yards, okay, it's not a career day, but it's not a day that you're like, oh, we should go shopping for a new one.
But, I mean, like I thought when they're going to fully commit to stopping Derrick Henry, there has to be somebody to beat him on the other side. And Tannehill did it yesterday. But when you get in the playoffs, like that Ravens team last year, they're better. Can you do that when that happens against a better defense? And I don't know about that. We're to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Again, it is a Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. You see right here if you're watching the stream, I have my Focus right here. Caroline had her first Focus earlier today. She said she really, really liked it.
Big fan. It is very good.
Which is good. Powered by Focus, sparkling water with a spark. Let me tell everybody out there that this Wednesday is your chance to participate in the Nashville SC Pick to Click, brought to you by Camarena Tequila. If you guess correctly which player scores a goal in the game on Wednesday, you'll win a pair of tickets to see a Nashville SC game as they take on the New York Red Bull at Nissan Stadium on November 7th. Participate Wednesday morning at 9:45 a.m. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms continue to move east into East Tennessee. That's going to open the door for us to see still some breezy conditions, but a little bit of sunshine out there with highs in the upper 60s this afternoon.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Get a great deal on the versatile, powerful Kubota M-Series tractors and hay tools. It's everything you need to mow, rake, bale, lift, and more. And right now, you can write it off a lot and write it off your taxes. Right now, get 0 down and 0% APR for 60 months, plus save up to $3,000. Now through December 31st. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Come see why Coleman Tractor Company is one of the largest Kubota dealers in Middle Tennessee, Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and their new location in White House.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and paid time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. If your AC or heater is old and inefficient, you can replace it with up to 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. That's right, 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 6 months no interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on it. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
1025 The Game has your chance to win Preds tickets during the month of October. Just post a picture of your radio dial set to 1025 The Game on social media, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Tag The Game and use hashtag TicketDash to be qualified to win. Show us your dash, brought to you by Social Furniture. Support local, support social. So I did promise phones, and we are to them in a second. We got to talk about the Titans public address announcer for a second.
Yeah, you are worked up about him.
So they've had Mike the Duke Donegan, had done it for 20-something years, and it was probably 5 or 6 years too long. You know, when I was a kid and he was doing it, it was fine. You know, at running back from Ohio State, you know, place go nuts. But then he started to sound like Count Chocula there for a while, or like the Count on Sesame Street. You know, like it just didn't sound right anymore.
That's running back.
It was more like, you know, 1 first down, 2, you know, like it was, okay, time for a change. So they get some guy, I don't know who this is. I know they made a big deal about their PA announcing search, which I always thought was stupid. Like, I think if you're a PA announcer, you don't want to be like the story. But this guy is terrible. I mean, terrible. Like, first of all, he gives his takes, like as he's doing, you know, back deep for the kickoff. Welcome back, everybody. Darrington Evans. Dude, just say, back deep for the Titans, number 32, Darrington Evans. You don't need to say, welcome back. Then they would hand the ball to Derrick Henry, and he would call him the king.
Oh, that's bad.
And I'm like, do you think at Yankee Stadium back in the day that Bob Shepard used to sit back and say, now batting for the Yankees, the shortstop, number 2, Mr. November, Derek Jeter.
Was he British?
Number 2. No, I can't do Bob
That's
Shepard.
like kind of like a British Bronx accent.
No, but like there was like a seriousness to it with Bob Shepard. Like seriousness. And like this guy, but then that didn't take the game. Like first of all, and there were like a lot of like, you know, like some subtles like, you know, hand off to the king and things like that. And I'm like, what you don't want your public address announcer to do is to piss off the other team.
Yeah.
Like there is a level of decorum. And I have been to about 1 billion stadiums in my life. And I'm not saying don't be excited for your team and don't say Titan fans are the best fans and things like that, but like leave the takes at home. Like you are there to tell us who kicked the ball off, who caught it, who scored it, who tackled it, who whatever.
Can I just say one thing?
Well, before I get the one thing that just takes the cake.
You finish up.
The number one no-no that if any of you have a 5-year-old who is interested in sports or younger in sports to do is to announce the lower score first. So you will never turn on a game on TV and see, and the final score, the Chicago Bulls 78, the Washington Wizards 92. You just don't do that. Twice yesterday. Twice. He announced the lower score first. It was embarrassing. Like, nobody does that. Like, not 7-year-olds. Like, when I was in school, someone would say that. I'd be like, okay, they're not a sports fan. Like, your public address announcer. Oh, dear God. And remember when we kind of told Taylor Lewan, because we didn't hear the public address announcer say that he was re-entering the game, and then we were shocked that he would do that?
Right.
Like, dude, just call the game like every other public address announcer. It's all we're asking for. Like, just get a video game, put the video game in, let the video game play, don't play on either side, and listen to the public address announcer and just call the game. It's 3rd and 8 at the 13-yard line. Great. Hand off to the king. The score, Chiefs 0, Titans 27. What? That's not how you call a score in sports. Back to your phones. You said you wanted to say something.
The Titans must have played incredibly well yesterday. If that's the most worked up you've gotten all day today on a Titans Monday, a reaction Monday.
Like the most mad?
The most mad you've gotten is over the PA announcer. The Titans must have had a really wonderful day.
I think it's twofold. Because Ryan Porth just texted me and said the PA guy should be doing high school football. He should be doing junior varsity high school football. I think it's a couple things. Like the Tannehill interception and the PA announcer were the two things that bothered me about yesterday's game.
That says a lot, though.
Everything else, game was great. I got into the game. I got into the game with 10 minutes on the clock. Like I walked from rock bottom, across the bridge, into the stadium, up the escalator, to the club level, into my seats with 10 minutes to go on the clock.
Did you get a
Excellent.
pizza?
I did not. Excellent. Of how that worked.
Yeah.
But I go back to the, the Tannehill interception and the PA announcer. Like, I don't think the Tannehill interception, me complaining about the Tannehill interception is probably not going to keep Ryan Tannehill in the future from pooping his pants and throwing the ball to the other team, which seems to be a problem. If I could fix one or the other, I would fix the Tannehill interception before the PA announcer.
I would hope so.
The PA announcer thing is just embarrassing. Like, that's embarrassing. And if I complain about the fact that this guy gave out the lower score first twice, which is like an absolute no-no. Like, if I can say that, then there's a chance that someone there is going to be like, hey, calm it down, stop calling the running back the king, and just call the game. So that's why I get all worked up. Knowing the Titans, they're probably like, screw Stillman. Tell this guy to be more of a homer and to suck more at giving away the score. But I just thought it was terrible. I know that I say a lot of crazy things and I get really emotional one way or another. But I do think that like a bad PA announcer that does stuff like that, like giving the losing score first, I think that is like pretty embarrassing. Like that,
especially when you have such a high volume of fans that are from the opposing team.
Yeah, but not even that. I just think it's so unbecoming. I think it's like if you had a nice steakhouse and you
asked for ketchup.
Speaking of Ryan Porth, you had
speaking of Patrick Mahomes,
you had plastic silverware at your high-end steak joint. Like, wait, this is a high-end steak joint. We got paper plates. Like, come on now. 615-737-1025. I promise phones, we'll get back to them. 615-737-1025. Everybody is happy about the Titans after their performance yesterday. But Stephen A. Smith had a take that we have got to discuss next because he might not be as happy as everybody else. That's next. Stillman and Company right here, ESPN 1025 The Game. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. I absolutely love the FanDuel Sportsbook app, and you will too. Just use the promo code JGM so they know that we sent you. Monday Night Football is tonight. It's the final game of the Week 7 slate, and they want you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everybody a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Saints and Seahawks tonight. Think over in points. I think Jameis Winston over passing yards. And perhaps even a Geno Smith prop might have to be in there somewhere. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up with the promo code JGM to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code JGM so they know that I sent you. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line. 1-800-889-9789.
Take us wherever you may go. There is going to be a whole lot of work going on. Shoot us in anywhere, anytime.
I think he has some big play in him.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale, November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays, November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Mark Howard here to tell you about my friends at Apple Collision Centers. We all know being in a collision is not fun. Neither is all the stress that comes with it, and that's where Apple Collision comes in. Let them take care of everything for you. That's insurance, repair, and your rental details. They've got 3 convenient locations in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their managers, Tommy Rippey, Daniel Neville, and Chris Brooks and Marty Denson, combined for over 75 years experience. So stop in today and tell them Mark sent you. Online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne. Online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus. That's right, the sparkling water with a nice little natural tea caffeine spark. Online, Drink Focus. That's P-H-O-C-U-S. drinkfocus.com. Titans winners over the Chiefs, and everybody, and I mean everybody, is fired up about the Titans. And it's funny because as a kid, every now and then there were a couple of games that I remember where the national narrative about the Titans changed, where all of a sudden everything that people would say, they're not serious here, they're not there. The first year, Halloween, October 31st, 1999. Your parents probably had you dressed up as like a pumpkin or something, as like a little 2-year-old.
I think it was like a little Hershey's Kiss or an M&M.
There you go.
Something cute.
The Titans played the Rams, and the Rams were the best team in the NFL. They came into Nissan Stadium. Titans beat them, and the narrative changed. At that point, the Titans were kind of contenders. They beat Jacksonville later in the year 41-14, and it was like, okay, Titans might be onto something here. I remember when I was in 8th grade, the Titans played the Texans, And Steve McNair threw for like 400 yards that day, which was a big deal back then. And Derek Mason had like 180 yards receiving. And that was when all of a sudden the national media, I remember PTI, Kornheiser and Wilbon, talking about the Titans and Steve McNair as a possible MVP candidate. Yesterday, coupled with Monday, I think Monday was, okay, let's talk about Derrick Henry as a legit MVP. I think yesterday was, let's talk about the Titans as legit contenders. Sunday Night Football, pregame show, Drew Brees was talking about it. Tony Dungy was talking about it. Chris Sims and Maria Taylor were breaking down the plays from a Titan game on Football Night in America. But then there was Stephen A. Smith, as the discussion about the Titans has turned into, are they contenders or not? Stephen A. Smith, not exactly ready to go there today on First Take.
The Tennessee Titans are going to be a difficult out. Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all, stop the presses.
You guys talked about the Steelers?
Well, Michael said they could go anywhere. He said AFC Championship
what
game
are you
and Super Bowl.
Next? The sky's blue. They going out, all right? They going to win the division crown. They might win a playoff game. They might win a playoff game, and then they going out.
Why?
Listen, because, let me tell you why. Because even though Derrick Henry is that dude, make no mistake about it. And I know they got Julio Jones there, with A.J. Brown had a big-time game yesterday.
You're going to come back to Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. I'm coming back to Ryan Tannehill.
We're not asking Ryan to throw 40 times a game.
Did I let you speak? Okay, let me speak, all right? Here's the deal, Dan Orlovsky, Michael Irvin.
This is a fight you don't want to get in.
Let me tell you why. It's a very simple thing for me. Tell me a matchup in the AFC where they don't have a better quarterback.
Tell me a matchup in the AFC where they play one-on-one.
Time out. You give me Ryan Tannehill, I give you Josh Allen. You give me Ryan Tannehill, I give you Lamar Jackson. You give me Ryan Tannehill, hell, I give you Joe Burrow.
Talk to him.
You give me Ryan Tannehill. Him and Derek Carr might be on par. Okay, I'm just saying. And then, of course, I'm assuming Patrick Mahomes is going to be up in the mix. All I'm trying to say to you is this: the number 3 rushing attack, which
Tennessee's going to play this on a loop.
Listen, the number 3 rushing attack, which is the Tennessee Titans, and Derrick Henry is my brother. I love that brother. Okay, and I love the weapons they got, but I come back to Ryan Tannehill. And what I'm saying to you, Michael Irvin, and what I'm saying to you, Dan Orlovsky, is that at some point, it's going to come down to Ryan. They're going to say Ryan Tannehill, save the day. Save the day.
Okay. Stephen A. Smith, and I know there's a lot of people in their cars that are like, I hate Stephen A. Smith. And you might. But he is literally the number 1 voice at ESPN. You worked at ESPN less than a year ago. Mm-hmm. He is by far the most marketable personality that 100%. They have built their entire network around Stephen A. Smith.
Yes.
And even though ESPN's got its problems, it is the number 1 sports network on the planet. And so the number 1 guy at the number 1 sports network finally said the thing that I think everybody believes but won't say. They think Tannehill sucks. That when push comes to shove about this team, they don't believe in Tannehill. I am not going to do the cable news thing, which is one person on one show says, thus, that entire group of people that represent half the country all think one way. Because cable news loves doing it. Mm-hmm. Oh, this one guest on Fox News said this crazy thing, so everybody who believes that believes the entire thing. Everybody on MSNBC thinks this one way, and I just don't believe that. But I think Stephen A. represents what a lot of people around the country think of the Titans, which is, when push comes to shove, you got a nice team. I've told you, they like Vrabel. They like Henry. They like AJ. They like Julio more than I like Julio. At the end of the day, they can't get behind Tannehill. They cannot believe that a lot of people in the national media, and this time last year, I'd have been so far on the other side about, he's crapping on Tannehill. This is terrible. After the Ravens lost last year, 165 yards, I said to myself, maybe they're onto something. And I'm just saying that's the knock on the Titans. That until Ryan Tannehill wins the Super Bowl, nobody will give Ryan Tannehill the credit that he's probably earned. You heard Stephen A. right there bloviate about all the quarterbacks he'd go up against. Because I'm going to have Josh Allen. Tannehill is 2-0 in his career against Josh Allen.
But to be fair, if someone says, Jared Stillman, you have a football team, and you can choose between Ryan Tannehill or Josh Allen as your quarterback, who are you choosing?
No. I'm not disagreeing with that. The only quarterback,
I'm choosing Josh Allen.
The only quarterback that's top quarterback in the AFC that Tannehill hasn't beaten, to that, what Stephen A. just said, is Joe Burrow. And that was one game where Jonathan Joseph played corner. So, and Tannehill stunk in that game at Cincinnati. I mean, threw a ball right in the end zone for an interception. It was terrible. But that's the only one. He's beaten Lamar Jackson. He's 2-1 against Mahomes. He's 2-0 against Allen. He's 2-1 against Jackson. Like, he's beaten these guys. Now, you want to know why he's beaten these guys? Because when they played Kansas City in the 2 wins over Mahomes, Derek had 188 and 86. In the loss, he had 63 or whatever it was. Last year against the Ravens, when he beat the Ravens, Derek had almost 200 in the playoffs, and he had 150 last year in the overtime win. And what did he have last year? He had less than 70. I mean, that's the key to all this. And so I think the bigger question about the Titans, Stephen A. is telling you what a lot of people believe. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you that I don't want to say that I totally believe it, but I do believe that Tannehill, when it comes to the quarterback department, and you're going up against the rest of the AFC, forget about the Steelers and the Raiders and the other teams that we don't consider big-time contenders. You play the Chargers, people are going to say they got Justin Herbert and you don't. But I don't think that's the question here. I think the question here is whether or not Derek can outplay those guys. That, hey, you get into the AFC playoffs and Joe Burrow has been lighting it up this year. But if Derek runs for 200 on the ground at Cincinnati, can you beat the Bengals? If you run for 200 or you run for 150 or you do what you did to the Buffalo Bills last week and Tannehill just does his thing, 230, 210, whatever, is that good enough to beat Herbert and the Chargers?
It's hard to think it wouldn't be.
So that's the key. See, Stephen A's got the narrative about quarterback versus quarterback. That's fair for almost any other team talking about the playoffs when it comes time for the playoffs. It's not fair talking about this team because this team's quarterback is the running back. So you say this, Lamar or Derek in the playoffs. Because I've seen Lamar fail in the playoffs a lot. I've seen Derek dominate in the playoffs a lot. But I do think that this narrative that Tannehill's not good enough to carry the Titans is going to continue.
And it's not necessarily Tannehill who will carry the Titans.
Well, it can't be Tannehill who carries the Titans because Tannehill might not be good enough to carry the Titans. But I do think that we talked about it this offseason. I kept telling you, people think Tannehill suck. And they won't say it. Like, they won't say it. At least Stephen A. said it. That he just doesn't think Tannehill's good enough. Again, my thinking went from Tannehill is good enough to Tannehill might not be good enough, but, and the but is Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm. Well, because last week we were saying, we spent so much of the summer talking about how Ryan Tannehill was not getting the respect that he deserved, that he was a top 10 quarterback. And I fully believe that. I think that he could have landed somewhere between the 8 to 12 range of best quarterbacks in the NFL. But we both said last week, we don't really think that anymore. That Tannehill's a top 10 quarterback in the league. We don't believe that. No. And I'll stand by that I did think that Ryan Tannehill, after the 2020 season, was a top 10 quarterback in the league. I don't think that anymore. And I have to agree with part of Stephen A's argument, but I don't think it's necessarily fair.
I think that Stephen A's argument does not hit the issue that the Titans may have in the playoffs. But I do think this. Kansas City yesterday sold out to stop Derrick Henry. If they hadn't sold out to stop Derrick Henry, he could have rushed for 150 yards. But they literally dedicated their entire defense to stopping Derrick Henry. And then they kind of did, kind of didn't. But the Titans were prepared for that, which is why they had the pop pass. And it ended up working and caught him off guard on a touchdown. And they were prepared for it, which is why they just kept throwing the ball up to A.J. Brown. When you play a better team, take last year's Ravens. This Chiefs team is the 28th ranked defense in the NFL. Take that Ravens team that last year had 2 number 1 corners where you can put a corner on Davis and you can put a corner on Brown, or in this case, you can put a number 1 corner on Jones, you can put a number 1 corner on Brown. Can you beat them through the air? And I don't know if you can. Because I do think, as I talk about the 4 games that it takes to win, one of those games, the other team's going to take him away. One of those 4 games, the other team's going to have a plan and a defense good enough to do it, because you wouldn't be in the Super Bowl or you wouldn't be contending for the Super Bowl if you had as bad of a defense as Kansas City had yesterday. One of these teams is going to just commit to taking him away. When that happens and Tannehill's got to get you over the top, can he do it? He couldn't last year against the Ravens. He did last week against the Bills in the fourth quarter. Can he do it 4 times? I don't know. 615-737-1025. I've been promising phones for a while. We are to your phones next, because it is a Reaction Monday. It is a Titans Monday. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those guys have been good to me for many years. Not just good, allowing me the opportunity to endorse them, but good, and I mean real good to my home, which is the most important thing. And when you use Hiller, and that's a happy face truck shows up at your house, you will be glad that you used Hiller. I am telling you, they are the best, which is why they have a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on over 15,000 online reviews. You have noticed all the inventory shortages and empty shelves everywhere. And now there are serious shortages on equipment and products for your home. HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators are going to be extremely limited in 2022. If you need a replacement, call my friends at Hiller today. Don't wait until you are out of options. Hiller has special financing available, so you buy now and you pay nothing until next year. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free guarantee, and they're online at happyhiller.com. Hiller, proud supporters of the Vanderbilt Commodores, the Nashville Predators, and the Tennessee Volunteers. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Dumped by Landry. Nothing is working for the Chiefs.
The Titans smother the Chiefs to move to 5-2.
Felt confident throwing the ball, and guys are making plays.
We're reacting all day long.
Talking Titans.
It's been a good week for the Tennessee Titans on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
1, 2, 3, hands.
Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
Saturday means college football, so put on your game face, then grab an ice-cold Dos Equis. Dos Equis tastes light, finishes clean, and will never let you down. Like a friend that defected to your rival team. Pick up a pack wherever you buy beer, and not nearly enough snacks. Dos Equis, a proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue, so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Crane Works, Rental Works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Crane Works is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Crane Works offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rental Works has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Crane Works. Visit craneworks.com.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas in 1898, they've grown into a nationwide mortgage lender with 141 offices across 45 states, including 3 convenient locations right here in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at BOE1214.com. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Yo, this is Justin from NSC Backstage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. NSC Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage and shoe needs. See y'all soon, Nashville.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Yeah, it feels great. You know, like you said, there's been other stretches where we've been in a groove, and we did some good things today. So, like I said, we just need to stay the course. Keep building on what we did. There's still a lot of things that we got to clean up today. You know, we didn't come out and execute well in the second half. You know, they knew we were going to try to run it and wear down the clock and burn Derek and get him as many carries as we can, and we didn't execute well enough to run out the clock and sustain first downs there in the second half. So we still have a lot of growth to get from this, but we did some good things and can build on it moving forward, no doubt.
There you go. That was Tannehill. You think anyone will ask Tannehill on Wednesday that Stephen A. Smith ripped him on Monday and what he thinks about that?
I think you should ask him.
I would, but I have a meeting that I have to be at.
Oh, is it really important?
You're going to be there, too.
I will be there, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I will be there.
Unfortunately, so no, I won't be able to ask Tannehill that Stephen A. Smith ripped his rear end. Though I would like – here's my thing. If Vrabel's going to keep acting this way in the press conferences where he's short with everything and, doesn't want to answer the questions. He was asked a question about who was it he was asked about today? And it was, the worst answer I ever heard. He was given the opportunity to, say something good about somebody, and he didn't take it. Do it. Yeah. Just went out of his way. Anywho, to your phones, as promised, phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Reddy is going to kick us off here this hour. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Reddy.
Hey, what's happening?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just was going to comment. I think you're right on point when you talk about the quarterback situation with the Titans. You can have there was a time when a quarterback would be good enough to win as long as he didn't beat you. But the way the league is quarterback driven now, you got to have a quarterback that can get you. And so, we're going to go as far as Tannehill can take us. The bottom line, even with Derrick Henry in the backfield.
So I appreciate your call. I think this is the great test study here. This is my favorite thing or one of the things that probably drives me insane about the way that a lot of people now treat the medical community after COVID, which is doctors get something, they don't know what it is, they tell you what they think it might be. It's not exactly what they said what it might be, so now you all think they don't know what they're doing. Whereas nobody ever says, you can watch TV and it's this doctor said this a year ago and see how wrong he is. And it's nobody ever says, Terry Bradshaw said on Fox that he thought the Bengals weren't going to be very good. Terry Bradshaw lied. Nobody ever says that. Have you noticed that? So here's the test study. And I don't know the answer to this. And you don't know the answer. And Ian doesn't know the answer. And the callers don't know the answer. And ESPN doesn't know the answer. And Terry Bradshaw doesn't know the answer. But everybody says it's a quarterback league and you have to win with a quarterback. You can't win without a quarterback. Well, the Titans have a quarterback. Joe Flacco is not the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. They have a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not one of the best starting quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not better than Herbert. He's not better than Tua. He's not better than... I think
he's better than Tua.
I was going to say, yeah, no. He's not better than Herbert. He's not better... Who was the second? Burrow. He's not better than Burrow. He's not better right now than Lamar Jackson. He's not better than Josh Allen. He's not better than Mahomes. He's not better than Brady. He's not better than Rodgers. There's a lot of guys that he's not better than. He's definitely better than Tua. There's a lot of guys he's not better than.
Kyler?
He's not better than Kyler. There's a lot of guys he's not better than. But the Titans have the best running back of all time for a 40-game stretch right now. And you've never seen a guy like that before.
Mm-hmm.
So who's the best running back of the last 30 years? Some people would argue that it's LaDainian Tomlinson. He didn't win a Super Bowl. But he had a 14-2 team that if they didn't run into the Patriots and screw up, might have won the Super Bowl. Emmitt Smith won Super Bowls. He's one of the best running backs of the last 30 years. Terrell Davis, for a 4-year period, was as good, maybe not yards-wise as Derek, but he was certainly up there. Won a couple of Super Bowls. Now they will say, hey, Emmett had Troy Aikman. But Troy Aikman was a game manager just like Ryan Tannehill. He just happened to win a bunch of Super Bowls and play for the Dallas Cowboys. And if Ryan Tannehill is a 5,000 times better quarterback when his offensive line plays well, when Derrick Henry's going, and when he's got A.J. Brown. And Troy Aikman was made because he had a great offensive line in the Cowboys before the salary cap, Emmitt Smith at running back, and Michael Irvin at wide receiver. John Elway didn't win any Super Bowls till he had Terrell Davis. But it's all just an opinion and a test study. And the test study here is, can you win the Super Bowl with Derrick Henry as your leading star? And people will tell you you can't with a running back, but they don't know. People used to get mad because you'd ask Floyd a question on the radio, and he'd go, I don't know. And people would be like, I don't want to hear I don't know. I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your... But I don't know if you can win with the running back leading you. I don't know. Now, I'm not going to get on television like everybody else on television and say you can or you can't. I just know this. All the great running backs the last handful of years, none of them can do what Derek does. None of them can change a game like Derek. My dad has been watching football for 60 years. I asked him, have you ever seen a running back who could just totally change a game like Derrick Henry? And he's like, nope. Trevor Maddich last week said the same thing. So the caller can say, hey, it's a passing league. You got to have a quarterback. You got to go with a... I don't know. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with Derek doing what Derek does. I do know this, though. Having A.J. Brown's going to help a lot of that. Jeff is up next. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting, Jeff, on Ryan Tannehill. You go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'm just having a hard time swallowing all this, man. I mean, I've never seen an NFL schedule where it says Ryan Tannehill versus, the Buffalo Bills, or Ryan Tannehill versus, it's the Titans versus these teams. And you said yourself, look at Stephen A. Smith could have had the same conversation back when Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. And I guarantee there was 20 other quarterbacks that he would have not traded for, or done that with Trent Dilfer, but they won a Super Bowl. The greatest quarterback of all time, arguably Tom Brady, has not won every playoff game that he's been in or every Super Bowl that he's been in, because it's a team versus a team. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And sure, as long as Ryan Tannehill doesn't lose you a playoff game or a Super Bowl and manages the game, then the Tennessee Titans as a team can beat any of those other teams.
So I would, and I appreciate your call, Jeff. I think there's a lot of truth to what he just said, with one caveat, which is at some point the game is going to be in his hands. Mm-hmm. Like if we're talking about the playoffs, forget about Kansas City right now, because that team yesterday stunk. And their defense is 28th in the league. And they had no prayer to stop Derrick Henry if they didn't commit absolutely everybody to it. And once they did that, Tannehill could throw the ball to A.J. Brown all he wanted to. And I thought Tannehill was good yesterday. But take them out of it. Go back to the Bills game. That's a good defense that you played. At the end of the game, the Bills put it in his hands, and he delivered. But can he do it 4 times in a row? The Ravens put the game in the playoffs last year in his hands. He couldn't deliver. The Chiefs put the game in his hands in the AFC title game, and he couldn't deliver. And I think this is the question about Tannehill, is how much can you get out of him? The one thing, the narratives about what is sports media and what is the reality of the game, it always hits me early in the football season when I think about all the months and hours and segments and everything that we do talking about star players and this and that and whatever. And then how little some of that matters. Like, I go back to Tony Dungy breaking down the tape yesterday of why the Titans were so effective against the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs put so many people at the line of scrimmage that as soon as Tannehill saw it, he just threw the ball to A.J. Brown. And on that beautiful touchdown pass, Tannehill had the quickest or the shortest time in the pocket out of any winning quarterback yesterday. I think Justin Fields had less time or something like that. I can't remember the exact stat. Or I think he had the shortest amount of time, like 2.10 seconds, ball out. Well, when you see 9 guys at the line of scrimmage, you know ball's coming out. But when you got an A.J. Brown, you can put it where you think A.J.'s going to be and expect A.J. to be there, and A.J. did it. And so I get all this. I hear all this, what everybody says about, one or another. But for me, I think it's pretty simple that Tannehill is at a point where there is going to be a game in his lap, and he's going to have to go out there when they put the game in his hands and deliver and keep the other team kind of balanced. And the defense is going to have to do their part. But the narratives, like we spend all these segments talking about this stuff, and we never say, what if Bobby Hart has to play left tackle? And we never say, it's always, can Lamar win the Super Bowl?
Well, it's a quarterback league.
Right, but at the same time, nobody ever asked about the 14-2 Ravens that everybody loves so much. It was, can Lamar win the Super Bowl? Nobody ever said, can they stop Derrick Henry from running for 180 yards? Because if they can't, they won't. And if they can, they probably will. But they couldn't. And I've always felt that way. And then the other things, too, that nobody ever talks about that are important. And I talk about this all the time, and it is the road to the Super Bowl. We talked about Kansas City. What if Kansas City gets their act figured out in the second half of the season? They've got a good coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
We think their quarterback's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
They got good skill players. Like, if Kansas City went on a run at the end of the year and made the playoffs, would you be shocked?
No.
Okay. If your road to the Super Bowl as the 4 seed in the AFC involves hosting Kansas City, then turning around and going on the road to the Bills, then turning around and going on the road to Los Angeles and playing the Chargers, it's a lot more difficult than if your road to the Super Bowl is bye week at home, Raiders in week 2 at home, and then Buffalo or Chargers or Ravens in week 3 or whatever.
Right.
But those things matter. Those things matter. And people they don't ever think about it. It's just like, can Derrick win a Super Bowl? Can Tannehill win a Super Bowl? Can Lamar win a Super Bowl? And then they just argue about it. And that's because it works. It resonates with people, and it gets ratings.
It's easier to digest.
But that's not how it's decided on the field in January. All of those other things play a role. Indianapolis, for example.
But it also, I think, kind of plays into the conversation of, can you win a Super Bowl? Because you can't win a Super Bowl if you don't get to the Super Bowl.
Hold on, what?
You can't win a Super Bowl if you don't get to a Super Bowl.
Well,
Something that all comes into play in the conversation. Can Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl? Well, he has to go through all of those teams to get to the Super Bowl.
But nobody ever talks about that. They don't analyze the win over the Bengals and the Ravens on TV and say, Bengals beat the Ravens. It turns into, did Burrow prove that he's going to be the next great quarterback?
It's always a very, very dramatic response to it.
Is Burrow better than Lamar? Nobody looks at it and says, well, are the Ravens screwed because now their road to the playoffs, even if they win the division, involves the Super Bowl involves 2 road games at all the way out at the Chargers and to frigid Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody talks about that. But that is as important. I was hammering this last year when they got to the Titans in the playoffs, and because I didn't want any part, no part of playing the Browns or the Ravens. I wanted the Steelers in that first game. I didn't want any part of the Browns because the Browns could pass and torch the Titans earlier in the year. But those things do matter. And then every now and then you beat a team. And you beat a team that no one expects to beat, or something falls your way, or whatever. And those things are one of those kind of any given Sunday things. 615-737-1025. We'll get to more of your phones. Plus, we'll hit the headlines with Caroline. We'll do that coming up next. It is a Titans Monday right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell everybody that don't miss the pregame show. That's right. Live from the Corner Pub downtown this Sunday. So it'll be Corner Pub downtown. The pregame show features Mark Howard, Chris Sanders, and yours truly. Will be there 9:30 to 11:30 at the Corner Pub on 151 5th Avenue North prior to the Titans and the Colts. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel, E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johansson, and this It's Smashville.
It's off to the side for Johansson, and he scores. And the Predators are on the board.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Genesis Diamonds is gearing up for their biggest and last sale November 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's an extra special event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35%. Store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and exceptional pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. A final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Get first pick on top gifts for the holidays November 5th through 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers flying in their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. November 5th, 6th, and 7th only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use. Only down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Attention Nashville, 3-Day Blinds is here to solve your window treatment needs. 3-Day Blinds has more than 40 years of experience designing, installing, and manufacturing high-quality custom window treatments. We transform homes with custom blind shade shutters and drapery with expert in-home design consultations. Your 3-Day Blinds design consultant is with you every step of the way, including setting up your installation. Book your free in-home design consultation today at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, the energy drink with a spark. Do you want a pair of tickets to see Manchester Orchestra at the Ryman Auditorium Wednesday, November 17th? Head over to YouTube and subscribe to the 102.5 The Game YouTube page. You'll enter for your chance to see Manchester Orchestra live. Once you subscribe, email us at promotions@cromwellmedia.com with your YouTube handle. One winner will be chosen on Monday, November 1st. To the phones we go, 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Caroline, what do we have in there?
One texter texts in and says, offensive line is a huge question mark for our team.
Bobby Hart.
Yeah, we love Bobby Hart. I had to take a minute to think, wait, who is Bobby Hart? Yep.
Bobby Hart.
Classic Tennessee Titan. Going in the Ring of Honor, probably.
Bobby Hart. What did he say?
Says we could win, the Titans could win with our unit if the offensive line got the stuff together. Derek needs help to expose his true greatness.
I mean, here's the thing you're going to have to realize. Taylor Lewan is incredibly unreliable at this point in his career. So the possibility that he can go through the whole season and be the old Taylor Lewan, to me, is probably at like 60% of a possibility of happening. Roger Saffold gets hurt every game, and he's going to continue to get hurt every game. Ben Jones is old. I don't know what's up with Nate Davis. And you've got David Questenberry, your most consistent player at right tackle, who used to be on the practice squad. That's what you got. But mad ups to Bobby Hart yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is what happened. I kid you not. So I see Kendall Lamb go down. And you all know what I think of Kendall Lamb.
Yes.
So I see Kendall Lamb go down. And he's down on the ground. And I see Radens getting ready to run on the field. And I'm like, oh, God, they're going to put him at tackle. And so then Vrabel.
We joked about it last week.
I kid you not. This is what I saw. Vrabel gave the hand motion like stay back to Dylan Radens, who was running out to the field, who then turned around and ran back. Vrabel then walked out on the field to go be with Kendall Lamb. And I wonder if Vrabel did that because he didn't want Radens running into the game, and he'd rather have practice squad picked up on Wednesday Bobby Hart out at left tackle. So by Vrabel walking out there onto the field, it stops the game and they go to the injury timeout. Like, that was how I felt like it all went down. It's like when I worked in women's basketball, and we had a post player named Keisha Hines. Mm-hmm. And Keisha was great, but she couldn't shoot a free throw. And she got knocked to the ground on a foul. And Jeff Walls, the coach at Louisville, is a great coach. He goes, Keisha, are you okay? Are you okay, Keisha? And she gets up, she looks up, and she's like about to say, like, I'm fine. He goes, no. And he turns, and our trainer's name was Amy. He goes, Amy, come on. Because once the trainer and the coach go out, she's got to come out of the game. Well, he just didn't want her shooting the free throws. So, are you okay,
Pretty
Keisha?
smart.
No, you're not? Okay. Goes out there. Are you sure you're okay? Okay.
She might need a minute.
Becky, get in and shoot the free throws. And I think that's what Vrabel did yesterday with the whole Kendall Lamb thing. When I don't think he wanted Radens running out there. Now, Radens played some at guard. But, I mean, it's so obvious that they have no faith in this kid. I mean, it's so obvious.
I don't know if they have no faith in him this year.
They drafted him in the second round.
Okay. But that's not to say that they all of their faith in Dylan Radens is gone and he will never see the field again. He's in his first season in the NFL.
Tell me a player who couldn't sniff the field, that didn't play quarterback, that literally could not go into an NFL game as a rookie, that then later made it to the Hall of Fame.
I don't know. I don't know, Jared.
Because it doesn't happen. Like Derrick Henry.
You don't think you think that now Dylan Radens is done. His NFL career is over with before it's even started.
I think they know they drafted a player they shouldn't have drafted.
I think that's a different drafting a player who shouldn't have drafted is a different story. That he will never see the field and will never have an NFL career.
He's a bust.
How can you say that when you haven't even seen him play in a game?
Because Bobby Hart is the option at left tackle before him. When you draft a guy in the second round, he's expected to play. He is, especially after you drafted a tackle last year who wasn't ready to play, that this guy is expected to play. Here's who's played over him. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Practice squad David Questenberry, who played left tackle last year and has never played right tackle as a starter in the NFL, over him. Kendall Lamb, who stunk so bad after the second day of practice that they moved him off a right tackle. Ty Sambrilo, who hated the coach so much that he quit. Taylor Lewan, who was at one point a Pro Bowler and has played half the games over the last 3 years. Bobby Hart, who was picked up off the practice squad, off of Buffalo's practice squad on Wednesday.
Taylor Lewan, a former Pro Bowl left tackle, starts over Dylan Radens. So Dylan Radens is the worst and will never play an NFL game in his life.
You know exactly what you're doing right there. You know he's one of 5. That they will not play.
But you did mention Taylor Lewan.
Yes.
That's a silly comparison.
At one point, Ken Griffey Jr. is on the depth chart, even though we know that he's the best. Lewan, Questenberry, Sambrilo, Lamb, Bobby Hart. I am convinced at this point they would put Jared Stillman at tackle before they would put Dylan Radens.
You would be wonderful at tackle.
I bet they will not play this kid. This idea, though, like, hey, he needs a whole year to develop. I'm not saying
he didn't even play football last year.
I'm not saying that when you draft a guy that he should be ready right away. That's why I get mad at the people that look at the quarterbacks and are like, well, these quarterbacks are no good. Fields is no good, and this one's no good, and that one's no good. And like, it takes time. It takes time to be a great player. Some guys are great right away. Some guys aren't. But when you draft a guy in the second round, like, he better be able to get on the field in the NFL.
Like, I'm with you. I think that he is way below their expectations, and they absolutely expected Dylan Radins to be out on the field, and he's just not there yet. I think that it is I'm with you there. But I think that it is way overreacting to say that he will never see the field in an NFL game.
I believe that Dylan Radins at this point, and I'm talking about tackle. They may play him at guard. I don't know.
Because apparently he can play all 5 offensive line positions.
I don't think
according to his scouting report.
I don't think they think that.
I think they did think that when they drafted him.
I think they think he can't play tackle. That's what I think. Because when they had OTAs,
well, they did put him in a guard. So
you're not
there
allowed.
Could be some truth to that.
You're not allowed to report on who plays where in like OTAs or whatever. But Joe told me that Lamb and so like we couldn't go on the air and say it, but Lamb and Radins were alternating at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Hart.
Bobby Hart could be the next great Tennessee Titan.
Floyd one time was sitting in the office and he was looking at the media guide and they had like the all-time practice squads and he was just looking through it like the all-time Titans Oilers practice squads. Now, think about what our knowledge of the practice squad is and think about what his knowledge of those guys on that practice squad was. Like he knows he put those guys on that practice squad.
Right.
He goes, you know what's funny looking at this is when you read through it and you think maybe there's like a couple hidden gems here or there. And not one guy was a standout player. He's like 30 years, and not one guy was a standout player.
I think being a practice squad guy and also being in your rookie season are two totally different things.
No, I mean...
Because if Dylan Radins 4 years down the line is still in the Titans practice squad and has only seen the field once...
Well, he's not on the practice squad, but I'm talking about Bobby Hart is playing over this guy.
Okay.
And was literally on a practice squad
But that Bobby Hart playing over Dylan Radins... in this game versus Dylan Radins' the outlook of the rest of his career, I think is totally off.
No, I'm just saying that, like, at some point, like, I'm not telling you that it's impossible that this guy can't have a season of, I told you, remember Joe tore me apart because I said he needed a redshirt year? I was like, just put him on IR, and then that way, all the things you think that he needs to do in order to be able to play, he can do, and there won't be the fan pressure for him to get out on the field. But I don't actually believe that a guy who isn't ready is not ready under any circumstance. I don't think that exists in the NFL. Like, even Trey Lance had to sit out the exact same amount that Dylan Radins did. But when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, Trey Lance went into the game. Like, there's a difference of he's not ready to be better than a starter, and we can't put him out there because he stinks so bad. And when you're putting Bobby Hart out over that guy, that's your answer. When the coach is telling you, go back on the sideline, I'm going to go out here, stall, and bring Bobby Hart out, there's your answer. I mean, like, I think Farley's got a better chance to be a good player than he does, and Farley's going to be hurt for his entire career.
I think that is such a dramatic statement.
He can't play. Like, they cannot put him in the game right now. They do not trust to play him at a tackle position right now at all.
Caleb Farley has everything injured. Yeah. Everything is injured.
Yeah. But at least, like, he can kind of play. This guy, like, he can't play.
One texter would like to point out the fact that you did not believe in Nate Davis once upon a time.
Different kind of belief. And I don't even remember what I didn't believe about Nate Davis. In fact, I think that you don't know Nate Davis from a Jar of Vicks thing was from me saying that they should play Nate Davis at right guard or something. And Floyd was like, you don't know Nate Davis. Or when I was talking about they had an answer at right guard. Or I don't know. I need the context on that. I don't even remember what I said about Nate Davis. We normally do headlines with Caroline, and we were going to do that there. Headlines with Caroline presented by Fiero Tequila, the spiciest infused tequila on the market. The world belongs to the brave. Again, Fiero Tequila, the spiciest infused tequila on the market. The world belongs to the brave. I just got too wound up there. So Caroline,
because you got some bonkers takes.
Okay. I will say this. If Dylan Radins becomes a starter, like a legitimate starts the season number one tackle for 3 consecutive years at any point in his NFL career, I will buy you a brand new high-end vehicle.
Okay.
If
We'll
he
shake on
doesn't, you owe me the cash value of a regular, not high-end vehicle.
Okay.
You're going to do that?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Why not?
Because I don't want to do that.
Okay. Caroline's is next. Reaction Monday presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. You see me holding up my Focus right here. You know I absolutely love it. It's my new spark of choice. Sparkling water with a spark. Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S. Your body needs water, and it doesn't mean that it has to be boring. Like, oh, man, here's water. That's why they've got Focus. It's sparkling water with a spark. So it's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine. So you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or that crash that you get from energy drinks or all that fake stuff that's all in them and it can screw up everything. You don't want that. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get it delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, at checkout for 15% off your order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's P-H-O-C-U-S on the web at drinkfocus.com. Again, I went to Publix today and bought Focus because I needed a little bit of a pick-me-up. So again, that's Focus, drinkfocus.com.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies and breezy conditions for the remainder of the afternoon and early evening hours. We'll look for clouds to hang with us into early Tuesday as well. Lows drop to the mid-40s to start the morning. I'm Fox 17 Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
It's football season and Social Furniture has the best lifetime guarantee motion furniture on sale now. Their sofas with recliners are push-button electric and wall-away with all colors to choose from for your comfort. Sectionals from $9.99, recliners from $3.99. Sectionals with Chase Lounge and all-electric recliners from $19.99. Social Furniture will have you football ready with all furniture that are plus leather, microfiber, and Social Furniture has same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Attention Nashville, 3-Day Blinds is here to solve your window treatment needs. 3-Day Blinds has more than 40 years of experience designing, installing, and manufacturing high-quality custom window treatments. We transform homes with custom blind shade shutters and drapery with expert in-home design consultations. Your 3-Day Blinds design consultant is with you every step of the way, including setting up your installation. Book your free in-home design consultation today at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
It should be noted Bobby Hart started at tackle last year for the Bengals.
Good to know.
But I don't know that much about Bobby Hart.
Good to know. You know that classic Cincinnati Bengals offensive line in 2020.
Titans are getting the play-by-play duo of Spiro Dedes and Jay Feely for the Indianapolis game this week, so nobody will be paying attention to that, which may be good. Sometimes it's bad. We got a Monday Night Football game tonight. Geno Smith at it. It's time now for Caroline's.
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline's is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for more than 25 years. You can sign up at BetUS.com, mention promo code GAME, and get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. Monday night game, New Orleans at Seattle. Give me the Saints -5.5, -110. You could take the Seahawks +5.5, -110, or on the money line, +190. Russell Wilson still out. Don't necessarily trust Geno Smith. Give me Jameis Winston. Give me Alvin Kamara. I think they win by at least a touchdown tonight in Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints, too. I think this one seems too simple to me. And you know I can't stand Geno Smith.
Oh,
So-
you irrationally hate Geno Smith.
Well, see, that's because you didn't watch Geno with the Jets. He got his shot. He was terrible. And I mean terrible.
He got another shot, just like Dylan Radins will get down the line whenever he's ready to play on the
shot when they benched Eli Manning inexplicably for Geno Smith with the Giants, and he was terrible. Geno is terrible.
He's got 9 lives, and you know what? I fully expect him to take advantage of all of them, but not necessarily tonight.
Give me the Saints.
Anytime touchdown score, I am going to take Marquez Callaway +190. You could take Alvin Kamara -220. DK +195. Alex Collins +230. Tyler Lockett +240. Or Traquan Smith +300.
I'll take Traquan Smith. He was always a favorite of Drew Brees, and I've always liked him. So I'll take Traquan Smith. Good Monday night game today. Maybe good. I don't know. It's a bad
I feel
week of
like
football.
going into this season, this would have been like, ooh, chef's kiss money matchup if it was like a Drew Brees, Russell Wilson kind of matchup, but it's neither of those.
TV's going to hurt for treating the Patriots and the Saints like they're still good without their quarterbacks. Tell us about BetUS.
Caroline's is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You can sign up at BetUS.com, mention promo code GAME, and get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit.
We're at Bridgestone Arena tomorrow. That's it for us. We're out of here. Preds Insiders.